You may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Never listen to a panickin.
He could only have gotten that idea from Benjamin Netanyahu.
Amazing.
Yes, hello, it's me, a black guy.
I'm sorry, I'm a nigger.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him.
It's important to segregate.
What is that?
Oh, the civil liberties and oh my gosh, what about the human rights?
I got it. Why don't we just kill him?
It's so bad.
I like how you.
Let's go. Come on. Get in. Let's go. Wow.
Amazing.
Oh man, I forgot I added that one to the soundboard. I just looked down and saw it.
Let's go. Come on. Get in. Let's go. Wow.
The funniest human being who has ever lived. My president, Donald J. Trump. How's it going, everyone? That is Trump. Yeah. Let's go. Get in. Here we go. Pwah. I also forgot about this one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a nigger.
Shout out to Mellon for clipping some of those out. He is a patriot. Oh, how you guys doing? What a day. What a day. I've got so many things. And one of my favorite things just happened. This is being sarcastic. One of my favorite things just happened right as soon as I went live. The little alert popped up on the browser, on the Brave browser, that says update. Fucking hate it when this happens. It drives me crazy when there are little alerts that say this thing needs to be updated. The update must happen right away. I can't ignore it. And now it pops up and I just want to click it. But it'll just kill everything. So I'm not going to do that. I'll have to wait. Oh, if you guys missed the pre-show, you missed a great Jeff Accordion original. You should go back. You should go back and listen to it. It was very, very good. A banger, I might say. Spoke directly to my 37-year-old soul. What are you guys saying in here? Another Rebecca Black Freilabe. You never know when it's going to happen. It could happen anytime. So today I have got a whole handful of headlines. I'm going to try to rapid fire through them as fast as I can. Yes, I am 37, I think. 37? Yeah, I'll be 38 this year. Born in 1988. Isaac says I'm an expert in ignoring Brave updates. You're like Amy. Amy will be like, something's not working, and I'll say, have you gotten your operating system updates and your all your browser updates? Have you done any of those? And she just glares at me. Yeah, born in 88. What did God mean by this? Yeah, so true. What did he mean? So today I'm going to try to rapid fire through as many of these as fast as possible. I was getting a really, really big backlog building up. I dedicated this time to some of the long form content, the videos reacting to Tucker Carlson and Mark Andreessen and a whole bunch of things really started backing up. So I wanted to clear out as many of them as possible. I had a conversation with Amy yesterday, and one thing I think I'm going to start doing, I've got some interviews that I want to do, some people I want to sit down and talk to, and I've been trying to figure out how to integrate it with the Lab schedule. And so what I'm going to do is I'm still trying to get the infrastructure set up, figuring out exactly how I'm going to do it. But I am going to introduce an interview component to this. It'll be just a separate thing. And I'll live stream the interviews, but I'm going to do it in behind a paywall somewhere. I'm going to do it privately. And everyone in the King Pill Discord will get access to it, and then any other people who want to come in, I'll do it there, and I'll stream it live, and then I'll just drop it out on the rest of the platforms on a delay. But then what I'm also going to do is start doing shorter libs, because number one, I'm doing this to make money. Like, that is a consideration. You guys have been crazy generous, but typically the contributions are front loaded, and so I end up doing the last few hours for free. And I also get from a lot of people that they're not. They can't keep up. That it's too much. It's too much. A new one will start and they'll be like, I haven't even gotten to the finish the last one. So I'm going to tighten them up a little bit more. And in return for that, you guys are going to start getting some conversations. I have a list of people already that I think you guys are going to really, really enjoy. And then also, I'm going to hit up DPH and start seeing about getting on to other people's shows. Because right now I just don't have time. I am also I'm thinking about putting out a little survey just because I'm curious. It's not going to change anything about how I do the show, but I'm going to put out a little survey and see what sort of stuff people seem to enjoy the most. You could say it here in the chat. I'm not necessarily going to be able to keep track of it right now, but whether it's doing deep dives into reading articles, if it's rapid fire stories, if it's the more lighthearted, fun stuff versus more deep stuff, more serious stuff. Or the long where I sit and play a video and react to it. There's kind of a bunch of different things that I've done here as part of the labs. And so I'm going to put a little survey together and push it out to people. Anyone who wants to answer it, just let me know. I'm not going to collect your data or anything. I'm just curious to know what people say. So need to get me on the Crucible. See the thing, does he do interviews on the Crucible? Because I'm not a debater. I don't want to debate. I don't have the patience for that. But if they do interviews, I would do an interview. I kind of need I don't know what my thing would be. What would be if you were going to try to get somebody to interview me? What would my thing be? Once upon a time, I was the PayPal Mafia guy. But that was just a brief period of time. Just happened to be something I was interested in that I was studying. But the white pill guy, maybe that's all I am. Yeah, I'll just come. I'll come gas you up. Agitprop Master says, people enjoy me becoming dictator of the show every Saturday and having non-consensual relations with their inner lives every Saturday. Yes. Yes, that is what they do. That is. You are penetrating us, penetrating our inner lives. That Calvin and Hobbes thing, man, I wasn't ready for that. That felt like penetration. Lord Breezy says, depends on what I'm pissed about. Usually I just want firing squads for black pillars. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm doing. I'm going around, I'm an activist, community activist, looking for firing squads for black pillars. Jeff Accordion says, don't knock at the lab. Saved my ass from the rabbit holes. Well, good. I'm glad. That's not going to change. I will definitely be continuing to do that. Oh, yeah, let me put the tip link in here. Tip link. Gotta remember what it is. Tips.kingpill.com. And there we go. I know that, he says grown-up Calvin will be back. Ooh. Oh, yes. We're going to get more grown-up Calvin. I can't wait. This is a potentially very rich vein to tap. Thank you, Jeff Accordion, for the 500 kicks. Let me go through these real quick. 500 kicks from Jeff Accordion. We got 10 from Emperor Atreides. We got 500 from Pale Morning Dude. 10 gifted subs from Dr. Doom Guy. Patriot, including the Agitprop Master. What else do we got here? I got to check off all of these so it doesn't tell me that I have unread notifications. 50 kicks from Nematoder, 500 kicks from Jeff Accordion. He says, tip the streamer, and 100 kicks from Pale Morning Dude. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. The tips link is now in there as well. I'm also I'm trying to vamp a little bit here just to see how much more time do you need, Suda, on the third clip. He's got, we're going to start off with a couple of clips here, and he's got a third one that's coming up. Okay, so first thing here, I just pulled this from the chat during the pre-show. Ben Shapiro on 2X. This one, this one tickles me. Babylon B, new Seventh-day Adventist Chick-fil-A closed Saturday, open Sunday. This is exquisite. I guess this is December of 2023. This is very niche humor. But if you aren't familiar with Seventh-day Adventists, they view Saturday, third clip sent, okay. Saturday is very, as I've learned, Saturday is handled very much like the Jews do. It's very legalistic about the observance, the rules of the observance, what you are and aren't allowed to do. Pop this up here. And it down to like, are you allowed to wade versus swimming on Saturday? And Saturday, the Sabbath is defined as sundown Saturday or sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. So it's a moving line. During the summer, it starts later and ends later, and during the winter, it starts earlier and ends earlier. So you go to church on Saturday, and then you come home, and there's like a list of approved activities that you can engage in. And you don't go out to eat, you don't go grocery shopping, you don't buy stuff. Also, you don't eat pork. There's some that are against all forms of like caffeine, coffee, tea, soda, alcohol. It's very common to see not just be anti-alcohol, but to view the consumption of alcohol as a sinful act. That it's a sin in itself. So this is what I grew up with for the majority of my life. So having this it's very much. If Seventh-day Adventists owned Chick-fil-A, then it would be closed on Saturday and open on Sunday. And there's just a little element here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but location being Silver Spring, Maryland cracked me up because this is the location of the general conference, like the sort of like the corporate, like administrative headquarters for the Adventist Church is in Silver Spring, Maryland. This is great little niche humor. Here we go. Now we got our first look at the Passion of the Christ, the sequel. The Passion of the Christ sequel that's coming out next year. Uncle Mel's masterpiece. You can already tell it's going to be a masterpiece. I saw someone say that this is going to make billions. This is going to hit so hard. May of 2027. The sequel to the Passion of the Christ, dealing with Christ harrowing Hades. Oh yes. So the Sudaman says it's over, demons. He's back. Banger alert!
I said, come on, baby, turn the lights off.
I'm jumping!
'Cause it's getting late. I said, I know you're gonna try to hang tough. You shouldn't hesitate.
Seriously, one of the greatest edits ever made. One of the greatest edits in one of the greatest art forms. Everyone's chipping out. Now we got another one. This is Marble Machine Wave. Neurons activated. Autism powering up. Civilization building is in the white man's blood. We're gonna terraform every gay little planet in the solar system. That's right, Black Pillars, we're gonna terraform Uranus. Black Pillars cannot comprehend.
Lethal. Reloaded.
Beautiful. Beautiful stuff, man. That's so good. I was thinking during that first part, the first world, third world thing. Imagine the way that education will not just be the labor of education can be offloaded onto the robots, but the propaganda power of being able to provide compelling visual presentations of historical events or science, like learning about the cell or physics or any of these subjects, and being able to show visual, like compelling, realistic visual evidence of it. That's going to totally change education, I think, for the better. It also means that like the propaganda becomes that much more intense, because like imagine a book that tells a fake history and people all read the book and it slowly proliferates its way out throughout society. Well, think about the power of like a compelling AI animation video of the same events telling the same story. It turns out all of history is just propaganda. Propaganda and history, the same thing. If you master propaganda, you will master history. You will own history. You will tell the history of your people. The best propagandist wins. All right, we got one more. We got, what did he call it? Saber Wave. We're getting a pseudo overload here at the beginning. Make sure you guys show up tomorrow for the pseudo wave, the Saturday pseudo wave. It's going to be, here, tell us again in the chat what the movies are going to be. It was Sleeping Beauty and another one that I don't know. One that I've never heard of. I guess I've got the conversation open here. Brain Donors. Brain Donors and Sleeping Beauty for the pseudo wave tomorrow. Make sure you guys show up for that. It'll be streaming as usual on Kick and on Rumble and on X. If you guys are watching on Rumble or X right now, do me a favor and just type something in the chat. I want to see if the connection there is still working. All right, here we go. Saber Wave. Oh, baby, yeah. All-time boomer banger. Thank you, Screwed Up Rebellion. The Battle of the Mustaches. Woo-hoo-hoo! Booped him right on the noggin. What was that? What movie was that? I couldn't tell what they were singing. Or sorry, what language they were speaking. He says this might be the best Western sword fight on screen. That was fantastic. Winged Hussars by Sabaton should be on the EWBSX rotation. Oh, yes. I will have to let the cyberbully know about that. I can't believe that oversight has happened. Completely unacceptable. Yeah, there is some Sabaton on there already. Templars and Crossing the Rubicon. I know at least of those. A Polish movie called Deluge. Interesting. See, this is why we keep the man around, because never in my life would I otherwise have encountered a Polish movie from 1974 with a fantastic sword fight in it. God bless the Sudaman. Okay, here, this one says, extinct memory hold kind of humor. Edgy, vulgar millennial core. There was a short window in time when millennials were already cringe but not yet woke, and it produced shit like a college humor song listing all the ages of consent in U.S. states in rhyme. Just gone completely. And someone shared this, and we used to produce gems like this. I remember this video, and it had completely escaped my memory. I totally forgot it even existed. Oh, before I start it, what this reminded me of was my brief foray into spelling bees. When I think I was probably about 12 or so. I was homeschooled, so I got connected with the whole circuit and with the local school district, and the place where we started out, I did this. There's like a partner learning thing between the local school district and homeschoolers. Had a class, and so as part of that, we had our spelling bee, and that was how we entered into the circuit. So the very first location, we had to do whatever the local competition was, and there was only 3 of us, and 3 people advanced. So the 3 of us were naturally going to advance. So they just had us do one anyways. And so it starts off like with really easy words, and then scales up and gets more and more difficult. So we're just cycling through all the easy words. And it was probably the second or third word that I got. It was proud. Proud. Like, I'm proud to be here today. I'm proud of my son. And I misspelled proud. To this day, I have not the foggiest idea how I did it. But apparently, all I said was PROU. I didn't add the D for whatever reason. And they were like, is that your final answer? And I was like, yeah. I kind of looked at them funny. And they're like, that's not correct. I was like, what are you talking about? And they said, it's PROUD. And I said, that's what I said. They said, no, you said PROU. And everyone in the room said PROU. And I was like, well, damn it. Well, I guess I'm a retard. But I advanced anyways. And so then when I advanced, I ended up, I think it was either 2 or 3 people advanced, and I ended up being the last one to go out to advance everybody else. So I was either the last 4 or last 3. I can't remember how many, but we went for hours. We round and round and round and round and round. And the word that I went out on was propensity. I spelled it with a C instead of an S. PROPENCITY. I didn't know the word. I'd studied for it, studied a bunch of them. Didn't know the word, had never heard it, so I just took a shot at it and missed it. And it had been down to the last 3 or 4 of us for like 30 rounds or something absurd for hours. We kept going and kept going and kept going. It was super hot in there. Everyone was drenched in sweat, and we were nerd maxing. And I finally dropped out. So here's a spelling bee.
Logorrhea. LOGORRHEA. Logorrhea.
That is correct. And that will end the 4th round of the Hambridge National Spelling Bee. Before we go on, I would just like to say that all of our contestants have shown an amazing amount of drive and perseverance. And no matter what happens, you're all winners. And now on to the 5th round. Next contestant. Your word is nigger faggot.
I'm sorry, what?
Nigger faggot.
Can I get a definition?
This is from 2006.
The definition is nigger faggot.
Can I get the country of origin?
Of course.
I wondered if that was Dong Lover.
Originating from the Greco-Roman nigger and the Latin-based faggot. Nigger faggot.
The way he pronounces it is so good.
Can you use the word in a sentence?
Nigger faggot. Get that nigger faggot out of here. Nigger
Soundboard.
Nigger faggot. I can't do this.
I'm sorry. That's incorrect. You're disqualified. Next contestant. Your word is also nigger faggot.
Can I have a synonym?
Of course. Pineapple.
Really?
No, not really. No, not at all.
May I have the word in its original pronunciation?
Of course.
This is exactly how the spelling bees go, too.
Nigger faggot!
Nigger faggot. N-I-G-G-E-R. I cannot do this. This is horrible.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. You are disqualified. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we used to know the rules.
Next contestant. You are the last one standing. In the world of written word, there is no higher than...
Nigger faggot. N-I-G-G-E-R-F-A-G-G-O-T. Nigger faggot.
That is correct.
That looks like Zendaya.
That is correct. I heard what you said.
See? This was not that long ago. This is 20 years ago. This is the year I graduated high school. And I'm not that old. When I say this is the year I graduated high school, that shouldn't sound like that was a long time ago. This is very recent. I remember this clearly. And the other thought I had in this is like, so you can live in a world where you're allowed to say nigger faggot, where people make jokes about saying nigger faggot. You can live in a world where the no-no words are un-no-no worded, and the world can still be gay. Like just conquering the nigger faggot war, just winning that war does not necessarily translate to based world. I see you, unk accusers. I'm ignoring you. I'm not the only one. Appeals Magazine over on X said I misspelled marriage in my one and only spelling bee. Missed the I. Still feel like an idiot. Brother. Oh, this is Mets. I see it. I just saw the handle. It's Mets. I feel you. You and I, we've shared the same experience. Okay, now here's this one. This is just one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. Whoever made this a fucking genius. Helen Keller and Stephen Hawking are literally the biggest psyops ever.
"1904, Miss Helen Keller graduated cum laude. That's dumb as hell. How you gonna study for a test on Monday when you're getting finger banged in the hand by a buddy?" Holly Thompson gave her hand signs, but in a two-man plane, and she's deaf and blind. How did Polly let her know it's her turn to fly? And I ain't the gay one for asking. That's a hell of a story, but it don't make sense how a deaf and dumb blind retard bitch, German, Latin, Greek, and French, learned them all and can't talk for shit. Then she traveled the world, taking in the sights with no damn ears and fucked up eyes, writing another bestseller, using only taste and scent. Now I'm calling bullshit.
I know every step of the road you are taking.
Now old Stephen Hawking, that's quite a dude. Couldn't walk, talk, think, or chew, but he had a little theory about a big black hole. He said, that's a huge breakthrough for the boys in science. #1 bestseller, Sunday Times. This amped up bastard can only grunt. We can say he said whatever we want. That's a hell of a story, but it don't make sense how a half-dead, paralyzed, retarded prick knew astrophysics, cosmology, quantum mechanics. Sounds gay to me. And now I'm soaring through the Milky Way, spinning on a fucking ball. There's a black hole gonna kill us all, 33.3 quadrillion light years away. And I'm not the one that's gay.
There is no God. No one created the universe, and no one directs our fate. There is probably no heaven, and no afterlife either.
Martin Luther King, that black son bitch, had himself a dream and it ended quick. Said if you protest peacefully, they could use the same shitter as you and me. Integration, it'll fix it all. Just show them roots and don't break the law. Bikes went missing when they found out fast as shit. Ain't nobody likes That's a hell of a story, but it just ain't right that a man with a dream can steal my bike. Ride down the street, pants round his knees, with his hat turned sideways, smoking weed. Now I'm looking on the front porch, tears in my eyes, come help me please, a nigger stole my bike. Cop said, son, now how do you know he's black? But I didn't call him black.
Yes!
No, never called the nigger black.
Oh my God, it's genius!
I just know that nigger was black.
Oh my God.
My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream.
Oh my God, this is great. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm not even kidding. I'm like sharing it everywhere.
Oh, imagine trying to convince the boomers that Helen Keller is fake. I don't know what's going on in Polk County, Florida, but their sheriff is roasting the transgender prostitutes he's arrested live at a press conference.
This is Anthony DeLezzo. He advertised as a prostitute, $300 for sex.
Grady
he said
Judd,
he's from
Patriot.
North Carolina. This is who showed up. So you are engaging this guy, and there he is. You wake up the next morning and you go, there's not enough Tylenol to get rid of this headache. Our undercovers go online. He agrees to make a call. We meet him. Whew. This is what he really looks like. How do you transform this? Whew, I can hardly look at it. To this. Now, can you imagine? You think you're getting this, and this guy walks in the door? Yeah.
All right. Speaking of sheriffs, a 30-year sheriff was ousted by voters in Alabama because he wouldn't work with the Trump administration and participate in the 287G program to help apprehend illegals. Oh, it's beyond a subscription now. A former Lee County deputy who was fired after deciding to run to become sheriff will now unseat the person who terminated him. Cameron Hunt was elected to become Lee County's next sheriff Tuesday, narrowly beating current Sheriff Jay Jones, a 7-term incumbent who has held the office for nearly 30 years. How many of there's so many incumbents that are now biting the dust. This story is getting repeated over and over and over again. This is a regime change. We are living through a regime change. It may be kind of a slow motion regime change, but the way these things happen is slowly and then suddenly. According to the Secretary of State's election results, Hunt received 51% of the votes, or 9,300 total, to Jones's 49%. So the difference here wound up being, 307 votes. 307 votes are the difference between this county cooperating with ICE and not. How many people are going to get deported because of 307 extra patriots? Beautiful. Now, a few different people sent this one to me and told me that we needed to watch it, and I've always Razor Fist is a particular brand of fellow, and I find him generally pretty entertaining. He's just a particular sort of guy. But this one in here, he was on fire. This is a tremendous Razor rant. Massey mogged himself. I've got it on 1.5 because it kind of feels like, with his delivery, it feels like it has to be fast. So let's go.
Well, as predicted, Trump popped a political pimple. Thomas Massie is out. In short, total Lobert exterminatus.
Yes, most Gen X guy ever invented. Yeah.
Before I commence with mocking the massacre, a moment of silence for cocaine Mitch McConnell. Man, hard to believe the vote for me to pwn Israel message failed to resonate in a landlocked southern state that thinks Netanyahu is the name of a search engine. Look, I criticized Massie long before he even uttered the word Epstein, so I don't want to hear about it. I criticized him all the way back in 2023, 24, when he suddenly simped for DeSantis. Indeed, a cursory search of his X account confirms Massie hardly uttered the name Epstein prior to the year 2025. Just 3 times in total, in case you're curious. Which is beyond baffling, given I think he took part in at least one House committee on the subject, whereupon Massie was a mute. No questions, no fucking follow-ups, nary a word when it couldn't benefit him politically. But mysteriously, in 2025, when it was time for everyone to initiate a divide-the-right strategy I could see from space, he turns into the arch-admiral of the Epstein files. And look, I'll listen to anything on Epstein, provided it's proven. But therein lies the rub-down, fucks. In months of exhaustive re-examination, we've seen more subtle inference than a Silent Hill monster. What we have not seen is actual evidence. And speaking of factoids, here's a fucking free one for you. The internet is not real life. Hell, the internet isn't even fake life. It's the kind of place where charity shelters get canceled when people find out they have a homepage, where the entire populace shamelessly shifts from being a Titanic submarine specialist to a Charlie Kirk neck wound ballistics expert inside of an hour and a half, where Candace Owens is on month 8 of being just around the corner from breaking the Erica Kirk case wide open, and where a neck-bearded bloviating mongoloid named Massie can beat his hairy moods about fighting government overreach while doxing innocent men in the Epstein case without charge or trial. Surprising precisely no one, every gaping asshole autismo nut from Fuentes to Cenk the Crank can't stop crying about Israeli money in this election. This despite Massie fundraising more money than Gowron, you retards. If money was all that mattered in conquest, Massie would be Alexander the Greating. And if you think an 11th hour bit of baby mama drama about bumping uglies with another woman before his ex-wife's body had hit room temperature cost him the victory, I've got oceanfront property in Kentucky to sell you. Look, I don't give a shit where Massie parks his pine cone. I could have gone my entire life without knowing Lauren Boebert's birth canal is basically Ellis Island for never Trumpers. But if you think a late-inning Laura Loomer gossip hour exclusive about a boner phone led to a 10-point differential in this race, any rational soul can...
See, this is why you listen to Razor Fist, is for bars like that.
Raising more money than Gowron, you retards. If money was all that mattered in conquest, Massie would be Alexander the Greating. And if you think an 11th hour bit of baby mama drama about bumping uglies with another woman before his ex-wife's body had hit room temperature cost him the victory, I've got oceanfront property in Kentucky to sell you. Look, I don't give a shit where Massie parks his pine cone. I could have gone my entire life without knowing Lauren Boebert's birth canal is basically Ellis Island for never Trumpers. But if you think a late-inning Laura Loomer gossip hour exclusive about a boner phone led to a 10-point differential in this race, any rational soul can comfortably discard your white hot takes from here on in, all right? You don't lose by double digits without being hated like rat poison by your constituents for some time beforehand. Cope and cry all you like. It's nothing but the truth, and you know it. I'm not recording this to gloat, although you have given me plenty of retarded takes to gloat about over the last 2 years. Here's some of them. Rather, I am recording this rant because I'm in the unique position of not being credibly accused of having flipped on Massie only after he took aim at Trump or Israel. Indeed, I called out Massie for being a grandstanding goof, as I said, ages ago, back when Biden was in office, when I noticed the only posture he maintains consistently is counter-signaling conservatives. And no, being small government, America only, or even anti-Israel doesn't even almost qualify as consistent in this case. If Massie's entire campaign was quartered in his principled refusal to be funded by Jews, it was curious tactics indeed to take cash from Jeff Yass, a Pennsylvania billionaire so Jewish he just circumcised Massie's entire career, to say nothing of the bloated bankroll of waspy American names like Hussein and Bani Marouk, pseudonyms for an Iranian billionaire consortium whose ancestors came over on the Mayflower, I'm fucking sure. Mohammed Marouk. Boy, that's a big family right there.
Yeah,
Zaid Marouk.
Marouk.
Right.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? And do you see the monetary amount? $7,000.
7,000, 5,000, 3,500.
The dude just the 7,000.
I've got an idea. Why don't we just kill him?
By the way, you can check this for yourself.
Oh, anti-Zionist America PAC.
What the fuck? That's a PAC?
Marjorie Taylor Greene's People Over Politicians Committee.
There you go. 7,000. Mohammed Marouk donates 7,000. Who knew a decent haircut and a shave was $7,001? If any of you authors want to pretend to be about reducing the size and scope of government, Massie is not the hill to die on. This is the Jerry curled cock who raised the debt ceiling under Biden, only to transmogrify into Mr. Minarchist the moment Trump took office. So if he ain't consistently small government, and he's the kind of conservative who crossed the aisle more frequently than John fucking McCain, shrieking about Epstein without actually exposing, let alone proving a single thing about his purported preteen trafficking network, and periodically spurting about AI PAC gang, I can elect a Reddit mod and get that. And while multifarious factors account for the collapse of his career, if Massie is in genuine need of a single culprit to blame, here's a bit of trivia he can have on the house. You ready, Troglodyticus? Because I want you to lean in real close here and hear this. We don't fucking care about Israel.
Yes!
For or fucking against. And that goes double for voters in the Appalachian hinterland of Kentucky, as the electoral result resoundingly proves. Groiper goat farmers courting child brides in bumfuck Spazakistan, spurging about Israel is neither a new nor novel concept. It is in fact a decades-old Democrat pastime. Hell, the hate Bush rallies of 2004 were flanked by panoplies of Palestinian flags. The George Soros-funded hate Bush rallies, might I add, just in case you're still pretending you pinkos give the slightest shit about who is and isn't funded by Jewish billionaire butts. You're an anti-establishment. Your establishment circa 15 fucking years ago. You're safe, edgy, and the only time you're incendiary is when you light yourselves on fire in front of a fucking embassy. What you are bog standard, bitch-made Democrats from 2016. And most unforgivable of all, you are boring! Dull as deep-fried dog shit. You're not funny anymore. You were never talented. All your cocktail party Jew jokes were delivered better by my grandpa back in the 70s. And here's the thing. As anyone who watched my show can confirm, I don't even support Israel. No, I've committed the far more unpardonable sin of simply not giving a shit about Israel, which gives me something in common with people in rural Kentucky, you tit. I hereby declare the 2-year Jewsburg Symphony officially fucking closed. We're tired of fucking hearing about it. If a country the size of New Jersey, with half the population of Los Angeles, spending less on American elections than the Marshall fucking Islands, is somehow dog-walking the entire world, then the world is a bigger bitch than CM Punk in the UFC. Massey's misstep wasn't tangling with Trump. However omnipresent the Trump curse might be, there are people who have gone 12 rounds with team money and actually survived. No. His operative error was taking aim at Trump supporters. I have a little experience in rural Kentucky doing missions and volunteer work, in fact. How rural, you inquire? Put it this way. We were erecting some of the very first telephone poles in the area. That about size it up for you? And while I didn't become intimate enough to hunker down in a lean-to and take a wife in the region, I did come away with the inescapable impression that these folks are not fans of being condescended to. Like, say, telling them that the president they voted for to the tune of 29 fucking points in 2024 is tacitly trafficking children for the fucking Israelis. Calling it the Epstein administration wasn't merely an insult towards Trump. It was also an insult toward your own voters, you greasy-haired halfwit. And every time a massy intermediary antagonized Trump voters on social media and the increasingly pinko podcast circuit, it was yet another volley fired at the fucking voters. And blaming boomers for the loss exclusively is not only short-sighted, but upon further review, disproves another of your favorite fuckwit talking points. Stop me if you've heard this about 100 times in the past 24 hours. Congrats! You just cost the GOP the midterms. Now the youth are gonna stay home. Let me make sure I am clear as crystal meth on this point. Massey lost because only boomers voted. But the GOP are gonna lose the midterms because only boomers will vote. Come the fuck again? The GOP are in dire duodenum collapsing danger because they're only supported by the only voters who reliably vote in midterms. This from the same broccoli-haired prom suit wearing catboy aficionado who endorsed Kamala, Cruz, Kanye, and Andrew Yang, all of whom got blowed out like Lauren Boebert on roofies. And you people pay these fairy fucking podcasters for their political analysis? We've been told since 2016 that Nick Fuentes is the future. Shouldn't the future be the fucking present by now? This testicle mongin microcuck is catapulting into his 30s. At this point in Charlie Kirk's life, he was about to found his 500 Turning Point chapter. This 4'5" fagaloon palled around with the most famous rapper in the world and actually managed to get less famous. Like, I don't even know how you'll manage that. The problem with pretending Tucker, Candy Kong, and Pricklick Fuentes are insightful political pundits is eventually you have to graduate from junior high school. I will not break bread with Bolsheviks. I will not sit down with socialists. I will not suffer the lulbert to live. And if you're one of the hyphenated name-having fucknuts, you're gonna fire off the self-same stupidity in my comment section as I speak. Take a bow, bitch. You are the reason Massey lost. You created such a delusory hug bubble that he actually confused Twitter with real life and campaigned accordingly. I look forward to your negative reactions, at least after you all wake up. I'm not sure what time zone Qatar is in. I'm Razor Fist with an object lesson for all of you. When you come at the king, don't fucking miss.
If it proves that Trump has an iron grip when Massey falls out, what about when Thomas Massey wins?
Striking down Massey, if they're successful, which I don't think they will be because the grassroots surge is so huge.
Because I think Thomas Massey's going to win. I think it's close, but I think he's going to pull this off.
Can't primary every Thomas Massey, and there's a whole army of them coming at some point.
Thomas Massey is the winner. You heard it here first.
That's where you're wrong, kiddo.
Oh, man. That was, if you've never been exposed to a Razor rant before, that was an all-timer, especially the second half of it. You could see him just powering up. He was fucking levitating off the ground. So many tremendous lines in that. Agitprop Master said, Lauren Boebert blown out on Roofy's Groiper. Speaking of the Pinko podcast circuit and Dave Smith, look at this. Look at our boy. Look at our boy getting out there. This whole thing was quite a thing to listen to. Brad Palumbo with a Democrat, John Doyle. So a Democrat, a patriot, and Dave Smith. Time for some John Tent.
do you really think this administration's problem is Thomas Massie and it's going swimmingly, and he's the reason that you're not going to be able to achieve like your
This nigga looks like Ka from Jungle Book. Just the big old wide eyes.
anti-immigration vision?
Not precisely, no. And I guess to respond to that briefly, I don't really know if I even believe in the principle itself, because you remember also in the first Trump administration, Massie voted against emergency authorization funding for the wall. So that was without the $4 trillion, and he still voted against that. So he seems to be principally opposed to
that wasn't a standalone. It was another giant spending bill.
Okay, well, the point being,
the continued resolution is what you're talking about.
Yeah, the point being, it doesn't seem that he has this like principle. It's like the ratchet mechanism where it's only a principled stand against something when it actually like helps Republicans win, and then every other time, he can vote like in lockstep with Democrats more or less. But regarding Thomas Massie,
it's just a lie. It's just not true.
Listen,
at all,
regarding whether
Massie make stuff up like.
Nothing I'm saying is incorrect. Literally, none of this is incorrect.
No. Objectively, what you just said is incorrect, that he votes with the Democrats most of the time.
Thomas Massie is the most likely Republican representative to vote with Democrats.
That's a different statement. It's not the factually incorrect one that you just made.
Different bills I would assign different weights to. So effectively, yeah, the guy is a Democrat, which is why, Democrats love him. That's why we have Democrat influencers praising his integrity.
Heritage Action, Turning Point, the pro-life groups, the NRA, all give this guy excellent above average.
They're all Democratic groups, Brad. Tucker Carlson's a Democratic. He's a Democratic show host, and Candace Owens
those
and
are like
Tucker
the fun
Carlson,
wedge
Megyn
bumper
Kelly.
sticker issues. Those are not the issues that actually decide power. Issues like immigration are far more important for actually deciding who holds power in this country. So insofar as Thomas Massie's weak on that, at the end of the day, like the guy's basically a Democrat. We can all get up on stage and talk about the right to life or the right to own guns. That's the fun stuff that we argue about at Thanksgiving. What actually decides the composition and political function of the country is the border, is sovereignty, and Massie's weak on that issue.
Pro-life doesn't matter now? It's only immigration?
I thought, and you say I make the straw man's. Every other issue is downstream of immigration. People who are coming into this country from the third world have far more liberal attitudes about literally every policy, including even things like pro-life issues, abortion issues, stuff like that. So yes, insofar as we have more of those people coming into the country, legally or illegally, the Democrat Party is going to have greater room to maneuver and become further left, which is why the country has become so far left in the past 60 years.
Look at my young politics understander over here.
It's not because the Democrats got better at making arguments. It's because they changed the composition of the country to people who are more sympathetic to leftist, collectivist attitudes coming from
So the question there is
countries.
why the most extreme Democrats are the white Democrats who were born in America, and the less extreme, less woke Democratic voters tend to be the racial minority voter base. But I'll bring in Chris here. I mean, you're the Democrat. You're the one involved in Democratic politics. Do you see Thomas Massie and his scorecard and his legislative record and think one of us?
No, absolutely not. And again, like I was live streaming last night reacting to some of the election results, and I wanted Thomas Massie to win purely for our democracy. I just think it's bad.
Do you see him as one of us? No. I was just hoping he was going to win. Literally just proves Doyle's point immediately.
If there's a party that is, again, purely based off loyalty to the president. So, no, I don't view Thomas Massie as, quote, one of us, but I appreciated the work that he did on the Epstein files. He seemed principled in other issues. I don't know Thomas Massie's, particular voting record off the top of my head. But again, I'm just kind of, I think it's good for our country if the party is not full of loyalists. And I'm sitting back kind of listening to all this Donald, if only, not to be this guy, Dave or Brad, but if only somebody was screaming and yelling, hey, the president's a liar. He doesn't actually mean what he says about no new wars or releasing the Epstein files or any of this stuff. And so now, again, objectively, the Republican Party is kind of starting to crumble here, and Donald Trump is the most unpopular he's ever been, with inflation skyrocketing and the Iran war happening and the Epstein files nowhere to be found.
That's a Democrat. That's a guy who spent part of the episode arguing that Joe Biden was perfectly cognitively fit and that there was no scandal covering it up. That's his opinion. That's the Democrat. This was not a groiper. This was not a retard right guy, even though he sounds exactly like them. That whole episode was surreal to listen to, and my great respect goes to John Doyle for submitting himself to that experience. It was like being transported into a completely alternate reality. Pure delusion. Back in the real world on X, Rand Paul, the morning after Thomas Massie gets BTFO'd, Rand Paul says, the border is being secured because POTUS made a promise and kept it. My job is to ensure the Senate doesn't get in the way. I'm blocking every attempt to defund, delay, or undermine the mission to protect our national sovereignty. Well, that's a change in tune. Someone sounds scared. I wonder why that is. I wonder why Rand Paul is suddenly changing his tune. Perhaps because he recognizes the inevitability of his own decline. All right, I see that Lurch here has sent over $88 to get the tip game started. Let me get this added to the goal. Well, I'm looking at it here. Daily tip goal. Reminder again that we are going to Sudawave tomorrow afternoon. Make sure you guys show up for that. Thank you, Lurch. You patriot, sir. I'll give you one of these.
Trump's a Jew!
That just makes me happy.
Trump's a Jew!
I've got bad news for you. You're Jewish.
Let's go. Come on. Get in. Let's go. Pwah.
Thank you, Lurch. Please do tip your streamer, folks. Tips.kingpill.com. Now let's rapid fire through some of these quickly as we can. Cash Nicholson says big names in the admin, including the VP, are using right-wing Twitter talking points every day on Boomer Fox News, and that still isn't enough for many based dissidents.
The major political dividing line in America today is between a first world vision of America and a third world vision of America. We see these politics playing out over and over again in every race all across this country.
First world vision versus third world vision. Here at the major Minnesota fraud announcement, when I forget this guy's name, but he's the fraud and one of the principal fraud investigators with the DOJ.
All of our programs are built for a high trust society. All of our programs are built for a high trust society. All of our programs are built for a high trust society.
What did he mean by this?
We didn't set up these programs with layers and layers and layers of anti-fraud redundancy because we set it up for a people who are accustomed to be able to trust their neighbors, their families, and their friends to do the right thing, to be honest, and not to try to bilk their fellow Americans by raiding these programs. It's become clear that social trust has been diminished and that people have taken advantage of these programs.
And then here is the president himself.
And we moved over.
Try not to look at the belly button.
5,000. And an interesting statistic is that 2% of the population creates 91% of the crime.
What did he mean by this?
The reason I like that is that you can handle 2% of the population. Mr. Kroger, I see, do you have stores in Washington? You see a big difference?
We do.
Boy, you said the right thing. That would have been the end of Kroger. All right, okay, we'll do one or two more, please.
He jokes, but that would have been the end of Kroger. My president will crush your grocery operation. Frontierism. Great account. Go follow Frontierism. Got some banger edits. Just grant him kingship for a month. Every single issue would be solved.
So now we have another one coming up, birthright citizenship. It would be a disgrace. It would be a disgrace if the Supreme Court of the United States allows that to happen. Remember what I said, 20 to 25% of the people coming into our country will come in through birthright citizenship. They'll become citizens through birthright citizenship, and it'll cost us numbers that are, I don't even think they're doable. And it's all up to a couple of people, and I hope they do what's right. Birthright citizenship is a disgrace. The fact that, look at the people that are bringing the suit. Study the people that are bringing the suit. These are not people that love our country, I can tell you that.
Imagine giving him kingship for a month. Imagine how many problems, how many fundamental foundational problems. There probably would be some things that he would unilaterally do that I wouldn't like or that I would disagree with or whatever. But think about the major foundational things that would be changed by simply making Donald Trump dictator for a month. Here's an incredibly strong and tactically smart move, according to Dr. Ben Braddock. DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen told travel executives that he's serious about curbing international flights to U.S. airports in cities with sanctuary policies, which could force airlines to reroute and inflict economic pain. If you'll remember, last year, during the big shutdown, one of the things that ultimately caused the Democrats to cry uncle was when air traffic controllers started walking off the job because they weren't getting paid. That was one of the major things. It was that and SNAP were the two things that made the Democrats roll over, cry uncle, and beg for an end to the shutdown. So if sanctuary cities are going to start losing international flights, there's a number of enforcement mechanisms they could use to make this happen. But if the federal government started making it difficult for international flights to get into blue cities, that's you're targeting a major source of wealth and what would you call it, like prestige about the cities. These are the sorts of things that on its own, something like this won't make the difference, but there's hundreds and hundreds of things like this now that are beginning to stack up. I've got more of them here. Actually, first, before that, listen to this video. I have some thoughts on it. This guy's got a very unexpected voice. Looking at this guy, you are not at all going to be able to predict what his voice sounds like.
Yo, just touched back down in JFK Terminal 1, and as soon as I got home, woke up with this chaos. A lot of things don't work here, whether it's the travelator, the elevator, the escalator, the door, no free carts, and unlike many regional airports that we visited in China, where there is a designated pickup location when you call DD, which is the equivalent of Uber or Lyft. Right here, this is pretty much an open market where really there is no traffic organization. Everything is pretty much a free-for-all, and it's madness and it's chaos compared to pretty much every other airport that we visited in East Asia, where the escalators work, the travelators work, and getting picked up was definitely not a whole lot of this. You know what I mean? I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that welcome back to New York.
The China yearns for the trains to run on time. This guy, Star Wars name says, traveling abroad as an American is a humiliation ritual of sorts. It's a reminder that everything is better except mud GDP and muff freedoms. Yeah, well, that's very obviously not true. However, this particular point here is aptly taken. You'll note that it's the big blue havens that are this way. If you go to an airport in most red states, it's not nearly as bad. Even the ones that are bad are not nearly as bad on a same level of scale. But I've talked before about the different ways in which the American system and the Chinese system are going to begin sort of moving toward each other in a certain sense. And this is one thing. The what would you call it? Like the absolute enforced streamlined order in China is something that we could benefit significantly from. And I think that I've got a whole rant I won't get into now, but I think the self-driving car thing is really going to push this forward, because the more that the self-driving cars begin to proliferate, the more the infrastructure is going to start adapting to reflect the presence of the self-driving cars. And I think that the self-driving cars are going to be, it's going to happen slowly and then all at once, where our children or our children's children are going to look back on it as being kind of weird that people generally drove themselves around. Driving, there'll be a point in the not too distant future where driving yourself will be kind of like what driving a stick is today. There's only some people that can or even want to drive a stick, and they go out of their way to retain that capacity. But by and large, most people just drive an automatic now. And I think self-driving cars is going to get to that point as well, where the majority of people it's just going to become inevitable, especially for safety reasons, for insurance reasons. There's going to be a lot of different, and especially within urban centers, it's going to be much more streamlined and routinized the way that the traffic patterns and stuff go. So there'll be some downsides to it. There'll also be some major upsides. But I think, this is a way in which the American independent streak can cause hurdles in scaling. And I'm not saying that is a good thing or a bad thing. It's just like a factor that has to be taken into consideration, because the more you scale, the more you need to organize. And especially as things get denser, then you have to organize and streamline things better. And we're watching now, like a yearning for fascism is growing among the people. They want order. They want structure. They want clean streets. They want no crime. They want things to work. So they may get, if you say fascism to them, they'll be like, ooh, yucky, no, not that. I just want all the things that fascism brings, but I don't want fascism. They literally just want the trains to run on time. All right, we got another DHS banger. Now, this is interesting because I missed the original tweet here, but apparently the DHS account tweeted some girl boss content. It was like some black chick as a DHS agent or something along those lines. They caught a ton of shit for it. They deleted it, and then they posted this. Americans are the inheritors of the most incredible civilization that has ever existed. Our job is to defend it. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Some intern got shit canned, I think.
We are the inheritors of the most incredible civilization that has ever existed, and our task is to defend it. Reverse migration, a beautiful thing, actually. Sometimes you have to get involved. You have no choice but to get involved.
Sitting drunk on a wagon to Mexico. Oh, what a chunk, man, my head got a bump when I hit it on the radio. Redhead senorita, look at that, kept said need a bed in Espanol. So give me a drink of water, I'm gonna sing around the collar and I don't need a microphone.
Hang on. What's up with the big white boy? Wonder what this guy was up to. Oh man, now things are refreshing. I don't like it when it does that. Bumbadum says it should be noted that the National Guard deployments have been wildly successful and totally unrecognized. If you told anyone that these numbers would occur in Memphis within 1 year, they'd laugh you out the door. This is as of January 3, 2026. Memphis sees significant crime reduction in 2025, and the focus shifts to sustaining progress. In 2025, Memphis saw a 27% decrease in overall Part 1 crimes, a 26% decrease in murders, a 22% decrease in aggravated assaults, a 31% decrease in robberies, a 48% decrease in carjackings. Memphis recorded a historic decline in homicides with fewer than 200 murders, marking the first time the city has reached this milestone since 2019. Nearly 500 fewer Memphians, that's the term, Memphians, were injured in shootings in 2025. The city recorded 643 incidents, 400 fewer than in 2024, a 38% decrease, reflecting a significant drop in the impact of gun violence across our neighborhoods. If you know Memphis and gun violence, you could probably read between the lines here. Compared to 2023, Memphis has seen sustained improvements. So over the past 3 years, overall crime is down 41%, violent crime is down 20%, and murders are down 47%. 3 years of this, we're in a different country. 10 years of this, we're in a different world. Shout out to the curator of Appeal to Pragmatism, Prowler. President Trump's latest order directs Treasury and federal regulators to consider unauthorized non-citizens a financial risk, advancing a debanking of illegals. This puts loans, wages, etc. under scrutiny and pushes banks towards identifying removable aliens for us. HUD, SBA, DOT, and DHS, etc. have been dismantling the alien economy with help from Trump's big, beautiful bill. This means migrant access to housing, lawful and illegal employment, health benefits, legal help, and in some way, banking is becoming narrower. Look at all these headlines. This is a great reason to follow the man because he gives you helpful little graphics and headlines that you can save and you can send to your local demoralized friends. FHA loan access ends for H-1B visa holders and other non-permanent residents, squeezing them out of U.S. HUD demands public housing officials check for immigrants. HUD moves to end assistance for families with mixed immigration status. SBA bans foreign nationals from accessing SBA-backed loans. SBA bars green card holders from business loan ownership starting March 1. Treasury moves to prevent abuse by refundable tax credit benefits by illegal aliens. Remittance transfer tax under the One Big Beautiful Bill, voted against by Thomas Massie. Beginning January 1, 2026, remittance transfer providers are required to collect the remittance transfer tax. DHS ends automatic extension of employment authorization. Trump's Transportation Secretary Sean P. Duffy puts safety first, finalizes rule to stop unqualified foreign drivers from driving big rigs on American roadways. New policy bars many lawfully present and undocumented immigrants from a broad range of federal health and social supports. Continuing. Fantastic messaging from the admin. God bless everyone in the Trump administration. So true, Cash Nicholson. Cash Nicholson is a great, powerful posting patriot. Cash_Nicholson. Go follow him. So he's quote tweeting Prowler here. Says, in a Washington Examiner interview today, Homan confirms that Trump has far surpassed previous deportations, but the numbers should be much higher. Homan says DHS and DOJ are working on mounting legal challenges and local cooperation to clear the way for ICE and Border Patrol to expand operations. Now, one of our great breaking slop demoralization purveyors, AF Post, said the Trump White House will begin counting border removals in its deportation statistics, adopting an Obama-era practice Republicans previously criticized as cooking the books. Tom Homan announced that the Trump administration has deported 800,000 illegal immigrants, including those turned away at the border. Now, you may have seen this going around. People got very, very mad about this for a brief moment until they figured out something else to yell about. But that is actually not what was said. Homan said that we are including both agencies in the stats, as Obama did. He does not say that border crossers, of which there are nearly none. So what Obama did with what's being referred to here, there's two separate things that Obama did. One of them is he included people encountered at the border and turned away, turnaways. Those were included as deportations. They never actually entered the country. They were encountered at the border. They were rejected and sent away. They considered those deportations. Also, they took the actual physical removals by Border Patrol and ICE and counted them together to create one big deportation number. That latter thing is what Homan is talking about. This is the actual quote. He said arrests are around 600,000, 641,000, something like that. Deportations over 800,000, if you know. So it's transcribing something from Tom Homan is kind of difficult because he talks funny. Deportations over 800,000 if you're counting the Border Patrol too. We're trying to do the same thing we did during the Obama administration, putting the numbers together, but it's a record number of arrest deportations. So arrest deportations. Actually going in and physically finding and arresting people and removing them. We did more in the first year in Trump than any year in history, and a lot of people want to compare President Trump to the Eisenhower administration. So that was the quote that was being referenced. Now, there's this other article about Tom Homan. He told me immigration enforcement operations have in fact slowed recently for 3 reasons that are out of his control. He laid out a comprehensive plan to respond to those delays, as well as take back the narratives that the DHS is focused only on criminals, and how the White House will soon unleash fury on those complicating the executive branch's deportation plans. There's a lot of argument within the world that, are we keeping our promise, Homan said. Numbers are slightly down, but there's a plan. Get them back up and even higher. Tom Homan insists ICE is not narrowing the deportation agenda. Arrests and deportations of illegal immigrants, this is from the Washington Examiner, have soared to all-time highs in President Donald Trump's second term, but the administration has faced significant hurdles maintaining its momentum in recent months, according to White House Border Czar Tom Homan, prompting some concerns from Trump's base that his administration is abandoning promised mass deportations. Approximately 641,000 illegal immigrants have been arrested by ICE and federal partners in 16 months, with more than 800,000 having been removed from the United States, Homan explained in a lengthy interview with the Washington Examiner this week. A total of 800,000 have been removed out of the country, Homan said. If you take 60% of that, criminals, hundreds of thousands of public safety threats have been removed from this country. Name another president who's done that. Democrats and some Republicans have criticized ICE for arresting illegal immigrants who have no criminal history in the U.S. On the other hand, many of Trump's supporters are frustrated that more non-criminal illegal immigrants have not been arrested, leaving Homan and the DHS in a difficult position. I know there's a lot of noise out there about you shouldn't be just concentrating on criminals, you ought to be arresting everybody, but we are pursuing a broad range of arrests, Homan said, dressed in a dark blue suit with a darker green tie, donning a 5 o'clock shadow. I don't know why people don't understand. Just because you prioritize public safety threats doesn't mean you don't arrest somebody else. Yeah. I don't know why people don't understand. Tom, it's because they're retarded. Homan admitted the administration's immigration enforcement operation has slowed recently, but he laid out a comprehensive plan to respond to those delays, as well as take back the narratives that the Department of Homeland Security is focused too intently on either criminals or non-criminals, and how the White House will soon unleash fury on those complicating the executive branch's plans. There's a lot of argument within the world that are we keeping our promise? Numbers are slightly down, but there's a plan. Get them back up and even higher. In his 8 years since returning from retirement to lead ICE during Trump's first term, he has taken on the role of a domestic diplomat as the lead negotiator with often hostile Democratic state and local officials on immigration matters. He spent the Biden administration years consulting and working in the gap between private and public sectors, gaining an understanding of the former before returning to government work. Homan is now 64 years old and approaching retirement age. Mongabloid.
Too little, too late. Not gonna make a difference. Black billing is despair is a sin. If people were really demoralized, they wouldn't be posting online about it.
So true. So true. Thank you, Mongabloid. Colin Ross says that's like removing the population of Spokane, Washington twice. Homan is now 64 years old and approaching retirement age, although he says he loves to work, even at the cost of living away from his family and putting in 7-day work weeks, all while being guarded by a mandatory security detail due to the death threats he frequently receives. Imagine, the dude is 64, nearly retired, says he's going to die doing this job, putting in 7-day work weeks with a private security detail. Through conversations with the Washington Examiner since 2018, the third-generation officer has cited the same thing that keeps him going, whether as federal law enforcement under 6 administrations or in his current role: an ingrained duty to protect the public, especially women and children. Where the numbers stand. After the past year and a half, Homan and senior administration officials have worked to fulfill Trump's 2024 campaign promise to, quote, launch the largest deportation program of criminals in the history of America. In ordinary times, that would be a challenge in and of itself, but making matters more complicated was that Trump took office in the aftermath of the historic border crisis, a 3-year period under former President Joe Biden, in which more than 10 million people were arrested on charges of entering the U.S. illegally from Mexico, and more than half of whom were temporarily admitted into the country, while countless others snuck in without getting caught. An overwhelmed DHS and immigration courts were forced to release the majority of people into the U.S. I love that framing. They were overwhelmed. They were forced to release the majority of people into the U.S., where court cases take as long as a decade to be decided. Under those extraordinary circumstances, Homan has led Trump's team across the White House, DHS, ICE, CBP, Justice Department agencies, and State Department to apprehend and remove more people so far than during any previous 16-month period in history, including the second term of the Obama years, when then acting ICE Director Homan was given the 2015 Presidential Rank Award for Distinguished Service for arresting a seismic 641,000 illegal immigrants during former President Barack Obama's second term. So, in the first 16 months, they've arrested, what is that, like a third again as many people as were arrested in Obama's entire second term? ICE arrests under Trump's second term to date are already beyond the 500,000 arrests under all 4 years of the Biden administration, as well as the 548,000 in all of Trump's first term, according to federal data. Deportations by ICE and Border Patrol peaked at around 400,000 in a single year during the Obama administration, making Trump's second term a new record already. So what's the holdup? What started as a quiet interagency effort to begin mass deportations in the first 100 days of Trump's second term gave way to a chaotic and controversial enforcement blitz under the direction of a Border Patrol regional chief named Greg Bovino, who, with the blessing of former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and former special government employee Corey Lewandowski, led Border Patrol agents on flashy, aggressive expeditions city to city to flush out the 100 million illegal immigrants who Bovino said were in the country. Homan stated for the record that credible estimates of the illegal immigrant population in the U.S. range from 12 to 31 million. I think it's probably 50 million, and I could understand if there was more than that even. But it's really basically impossible to tell, and especially once you consider the like ghost immigrant phenomenon. Like having 40 million people illegally in the country, and especially if like half of that happened over the past decade and a half, even that alone would turn into, like, do the math and imagine, like, distribute that throughout the population and think about the effect of that many millions of people. The bigger problem is that, what Yarvin says, we don't even know the population of the country. We have no idea how many there are. There are all sorts of estimates in all sorts of different directions using all sorts of different analyses that who knows? There's just so many. What we need is a deportation apparatus that can run for decades. The actual numbers themselves will be generated by that apparatus, but that apparatus has to get up and running, and it has to be, what would you say? It has to be insulated from being disabled, regardless of political circumstances. Rather than focus on how ICE and Border Patrol worked in the interior between last summer and January this year, the conversation with Homan focused on the fallout from that operation and his plans going forward. For several months, Homan has been steering the ship back on course as former Senator Markwayne Mullin stepped in at the DHS. Homan admitted that the past several months have been extraordinarily challenging, facing hurdles that no administration has ever faced. Over the past 6 months, the Trump administration has had its hands tied by the courts, sat through the longest ever government shutdown of the DHS, and struggled to combat sanctuary cities that continue to prop up blockades to letting ICE make arrests. Although the 75-day DHS shutdown did not affect ICE and border personnel who continued to get paid while working, it did cut funding for contractors who work for the department, such as those behind the scenes who support immigration enforcement. So basically, you had the enforcement, but you didn't have the logistics, which is part of the reason why they're working on getting their own flights so that you don't necessarily have to contract this stuff out. I love the idea of them just buying Spirit Airlines. The DHS involved fatal shootings of 2 activists in Minneapolis in January were also used by congressional Democrats as a reason to delay funding for immigration enforcement. The government shut down a lot because of Minneapolis, Homan said. Lawmakers got angry. I was up on Capitol Hill, my chief of staff, to a dozen different meetings with Democrats and Republicans, and everything they threw out was about Minneapolis, about, masks, about identifiers, about body cameras, about warrantless arrests, about roving patrols. The Trump administration has also been hit with temporary restraining orders and stays issued by these radical judges, Homan said, adding that we weren't dealing with this in the beginning of the administration. I've never seen so many activist judges, and again, which adds to the 12% decline in arrests, he said. District court judges across the country have tried to block the Trump administration's deportation agenda through multiple avenues, although appeals courts and the Supreme Court have overturned some of those rulings as the cases work their way through the judiciary. The Supreme Court, for example, has twice overruled a lower court judge who had paused Trump's third country deportations, which involves sending illegal immigrants to countries other than their homelands. Appeals courts have split over the Trump administration's policy of holding illegal immigrants in detention rather than releasing them while their deportation proceedings unfold, which will likely send the issue to the Supreme Court to decide. And some district court judges have tried unsuccessfully to place limits on the enforcement tactics immigration officers can use in the field, such as banning ICE from making arrests at immigration courthouses. In sanctuary cities or places where local policies forbid police from turning over jail inmates to ICE, federal police must instead go into communities to find an individual at the place he or she is believed to reside or work, sometimes even stopping seemingly random people while driving. But those traffic stops are not at all random. Homan disclosed that he traveled to Albany earlier this spring to meet with Governor Kathy Hochul and explained that not letting ICE into jails would result in more immigrants being arrested in communities and more collateral arrests of family members who live with criminal illegal immigrants. In other words, the way that this needs to work is that the local police are the first the first point of contact. They're the ones who arrest the people, bring them into their local jails, and then ICE's responsibility is to go get them from the jails and then remove them. But if ICE has to go into the city and do it, then it causes much more obstruction, much more potential for scandal. It's much more high profile. It's much slower. It's much more inefficient. And that's where the government bureaucracies and courts and stuff can begin interfering in the process. I explained to her again, it's safer for the community, safer for the officer, and safer for the alien to arrest him in the safety and security of jail, Homan said. I explained in Minneapolis what could have been done by one agent. Now we've got 12 or 13 people out there because of the security posture. And she clearly understood it. Like the whole, like having the big raids that are like really scary to people and everything. There was a period of time where I think that was useful, but then it actually began generating more friction and making it harder to deport people faster. Because then you get all the political attention and everything on it. You get the riots, you get the organized opposition to it. Whereas if you task the local police, if you work with the local police and you task them with actually going out and doing the immigration enforcement themselves, well, people aren't necessarily going to go out and like start protesting the local police because they don't know what the police are doing. As far as they're aware, police are just going and doing whatever police do, but they're actually doing immigration enforcement. That's what the 287G agreements are about. The local police agencies then actually have an obligation to go detain and arrest illegal immigrants. However, Hochul moved to end agreements to let ICE hold illegal immigrants temporarily in county jails, which Homan said would have further negative consequences on detainees and their families. ICE uses nearby jails for short-term detention when regional immigration detention facilities are at capacity. So if they can't use the local jails, then they have to try to use their own facilities for it, which is also something that's being blocked by courts. And the thing is, when you could say just ignore the courts, but they also have to substantially engage like various different contractors and stuff. And now if courts have blocked an action, then for the contractors to participate in it, they're opening themselves up to legal liability. So they're much more likely to just not participate. He says, I don't know how that helps the community because soon as we arrest an illegal alien in the state of New York, we're going to put them on a plane and move them out of state away from their families, away from what they have there, Homan said. She said it was a threat. It's not a threat. When I lose those 287G programs, I lose those jails. That means I've got to send more officers in the street to look for more people you released. And so there'll be more agents there. That isn't a threat. That's a law enforcement response to a decision they made to make our job more dangerous and less efficient. Homan shared that he is actively working on a plan to arrest more criminal illegal immigrants across New York, but he withheld details to protect the safety of our officers. He also intends to crack down on sanctuary cities, a threat that Trump administration officials and Republicans have made for years without significant follow-through. Homan said he met with Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche last week and that the DOJ intends to file more lawsuits against these cities in the near future. He says, I've been fighting sanctuary cities for the last 20 years. I think we've got an attorney, Acting Attorney General now, that's going to take it seriously. I just met him last week and I said, where are we at? And he sat down with me and told me different laws, we found different places and more to come. So I'm hoping this administration, for once and for all, can find a court that will actually enforce the law, federal statute, that what sanctuary cities are doing is illegal. The Border Czar also said the Trump administration absolutely could be doing more with messaging to reach the public about its priorities and actions regarding the promised deportations. At present, the DHS does not release arrest or removal data on a regular basis, although it issues a daily email to the press on several high-profile arrests each morning. I just had a meeting this morning. Secretary Mullen is committed to putting stats out on a more regular basis, which wasn't being done prior, Homan said. There's no reason we shouldn't be sharing that with the American people, and I think Markwayne Mullen's working on that, along with the White House. Then here is Homan talking to Scott Jennings.
Of illegal immigration enforcement in New York City, across the state broadly?
I'm working on something now. I can't give you too much. I'm not going to, flag what exactly we're doing, but I'm going to keep my word that we're going to send a hell of a lot more agents to New York. And what she don't, which I sat down and talked a couple months ago, explaining what we did in Minnesota, why it makes sense, but she apparently ignored all that and went a step further in a sanctuary city stance. But here's the problem. We're going to send more agents there to arrest a bad guy in the street, which is going to cause more angst in the neighborhood. Well, you know what? You forced me in the neighborhood. I'm going to do the job. You're not going to stop us from doing the job. You can make it more difficult. You can make it more dangerous for your community and our officers, but I got to do it. And here's something else. Since the jails can no longer cooperate with us and jails can't even rent us bed space anymore, every illegal alien we arrest in New York will immediately fly out of state. Now, tell me how that is friendly to the immigrant community. She says she wants to protect the immigrant community. Well, she's forced me to take every one of them and move them out of state as soon as they're arrested. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this job. She's not going to intimidate this president. She's not going to intimidate the American people who voted this president to enforce immigration law, and that includes New York. New York's a part of this country. We're going to enforce immigration law in all 50 states. And New York, more attention is being given to New York in the very near future, and you're going to see it.
Now, one thing that I know a lot of people have been talking about, this reconciliation bill that the Senate refuses to pass, that has a whole bunch of ICE and Border Patrol funding in it. There's some misconceptions out there. I've seen some people think that not getting this passed means that ICE and Border Patrol are being defunded, but that is not the case. The one big beautiful bill funded them through the rest of Trump's term. What they're trying to get through with this reconciliation bill is more funding. I think it's something like $80 billion or something that would also be through the end of the term. So that's in addition to the funding that's already there. So ICE and Border Patrol are fully funded. When the shutdowns happen, that means the contractors are no longer getting the funding. So the contractors can't work with ICE and Border Patrol anymore. So it hamstrings their resources and the sheer number of people that they're able to work with. However, they're also accumulating a huge number of 287G agreements. And that, if you really want to advance the deportation process, then you should be using your time on the internet if you're going to do that, or just going in person to your local sheriff and police departments and getting them to sign the 287G agreements with ICE. That is a very useful way to chimp. A couple of the comments here I wanted to highlight. The homeless nomad said it being the big flashy chaotic raids, it gave the left a point to rally against, making it into a giant mess. Right. That creates a shelling point for them all to gather. Ideally, you want it to happen. You got to be able to balance the incentivizing the self-deportations, because that's the best possible way to get people out, without substantially hindering ICE and Border Patrol in general. You have to figure out how to balance these things. So I think early on, having a big provocative push was good, while you're scaling up all of the other bureaucratic pressures that are going to force people out. So you scare the shit out of them, and then you dial it back, and you kind of go underground, and you try to operate as quietly as possible to not generate all the political opposition and obstructionism. Here's a video from Bill Malugin. It says this guy, Ben Bergquam, host of Law and Border on RAV News, is embedded with ICE and Florida Highway Patrol. An illegal alien driving a van is arrested. As that arrest is taking place, a car crash happens next to them, and one of the drivers in that crash is also an illegal alien.
That's not good. Crazy scene here, day 2 of the operation. We're over here picking up one illegal driving this van, and then this ends up happening. This driver slammed on his brakes, this guy hits him, but then this guy just happens to be illegal too. The density of the population of illegals in America, most Americans just can't comprehend it. I mean, literally, we're picking up this guy's an illegal driving, gets rear-ended by this guy who's just on his way to work. Crazy. Moral of the story is, don't come into America illegally. Don't drive without a license or insurance. You only have yourself to blame. If you're in this country illegally, don't blame ICE, blame yourself.
The density of the population of illegals. There's so many of them. So many. Homeless nomad, it's the logistics stuff that needs to come back online. That's what's caused the slowdown. It's not like they've stopped their efforts. It's just that their efforts have been constrained by logistics. And there's so many ways that you could facilitate that as well. You You could go get involved in some sort of logistics that's adjacent to it. You could start your own company. You could go get hired by ICE. There's a lot of ways. This is not like a, we're going to do all the deportations for a little while and then move on. This needs to be a fixture in America for the foreseeable future. So getting the institutional inertia set in is as important as the actual numbers that are being removed. Here's speaking of the different states, sanctuary cities, and such. This is from Smirkly, another good account to follow. ICE arrests illegal migrants at very different rates across states due to state cooperation or lack thereof. Arrests are 52 times higher per illegal migrant resident in West Virginia than in Connecticut. So this is ICE arrests per 1,000 illegal migrants by state from February of 2025 to March of 2026. Just the color here tells the whole story. So you've got Connecticut, Hawaii, you got Alaska up here. I'm sure that's probably a logistics matter. Vermont, Washington, Illinois, California, Rhode Island. And then down here, you've got West Virginia, Wyoming, Mississippi, Alabama, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Maine, Louisiana, Tennessee, South Dakota, Minnesota, etc. The table ranks all 50 states by ICE arrest rate per 1,000 estimated illegal migrants. Columns are estimated illegal migrant populations, total arrests, and the resulting rate, likely duplicates removed. So they've got an estimate for the numbers of illegals in these states. This is interesting. Oklahoma has an estimated 100,000. Tennessee, 184,000. What do they have for California? 2.5 million. Florida, 1.3 million. Where's Texas? Texas, over 2 million. Arizona, 292,000. Washington, 349,000. Illinois, 537,000. North Carolina, 414,000. Jeez. New Jersey, 547,000. Holy shit balls. Montana, 4,800. If you want to get away from the illegals, here's a great list for you. Wyoming, 1,000. Or no, sorry, 8,500 in Wyoming. 8,900 in Maine. 7,200 in North Dakota. I'm sensing a pattern here. 5,000 in Vermont. It had 4,800.
Logorrhea. Logorrhe.
Why does it do that? That's so odd. It just picks up and starts playing. All right, continuing. Prowler makes an appearance again. The 287G program has existed since 1996, yet there were only 35 active agreements by 2016 under Obama. So the first 20 years that the program existed, there were only 35 active agreements. Trump's first term brought that to 150, and then Biden cut it. Biden actively cut the 287G program arrangements. Trump returned. It's now over 1,840 agencies. Elections matter a lot for what does or doesn't happen, especially at the local level. Look at this graph. So here's Obama. So peak was 72, and then Obama reduced it to 34 by 2016. And Trump won, it grew to 150. Biden cut it back to 135, and then Trump 2 has it at 1,844 and growing. This guy says these agreements have to be a mutual yes to actual function. Even if there were 35 under Obama, if the locals say yes and the feds say no, nobody's getting deported. That means there were effectively zero until Trump's been in office. That's a good point, yeah. Under Obama, Bush, and Biden, the agreements were functionally handcuffed and discarded. Obama even killed off a main feature of the program in 2012 to prevent police from making real street arrests. ICE stated that they're phasing out the 287G task force models because they, quote, have proven to be a less efficient means of identifying priority individuals subject to removal compared to other enforcement programs. God, we had no idea how bad it was. Exclusive from the Daily Caller, Trump admin closes loophole letting migrants stay in the U.S. while awaiting green cards. Quote, We're returning to the original intent of the law. The libs are fucking chimping over this one. DHS account says an alien who is in the U.S. temporarily and wants a green card must return to their home country to apply. This policy allows our immigration system to function as the law intended instead of incentivizing loopholes. The era of abusing our nation's immigration system is over. And oh no, once you're back in your home country, it turns out there's lots and lots of delays. It's going to take you a really, really long time to get approved. And the standards are getting more and more stringent. You might just get stuck there. So USCIS this morning says migrants here for temporary reasons will largely no longer be allowed to wait in America while pursuing permanent status. Thousands of aliens use adjustment of status as forever permission to squat here. Now they'll be directed to go home first and get processed. On Friday, USCIS, which is U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, announced new guidance directing the immigration officers to treat the transition from temporary non-immigrant status to permanent immigrant status under Section 245A of the Immigration and Nationality Act as a process that should generally take place outside the United States. Under the guidance, individuals seeking lawful permanent residency would typically be required to return to their home country, complete screening procedures, and obtain an immigrant visa throughout the State Department before re-entering the U.S. This is one of the many ways the Trump administration is stemming the inflow of migrants, legal and illegal. The sheer amount of visa overstays and loitering foreigners who use lawful status adjustment as a free ride, their hauls are narrowing. Trump's DHS also added mandatory biometric entry and exit, updated photo use, increased vetting requirements, and gave officers greater discretion to judge each migrant. With this new rule of return, they're creating a deep, deliberate filter system to put all immigrants into. So they force them back out of the country, and then when they come back through, they're going to have to go through all the biometric screening, they're have to get updated photos, and they're increasing the vetting requirements and giving officers greater discretion to judge them. Once they're here, it can be hard to get rid of them. But if they want to get the green card, they're going to have to leave, and then they have to come back through, go through the much more stringent filters, be more likely to be denied, and if they are approved, then they have to go through much stricter biometric testing, which is then also, or screening, which, shout out to Palantir, that means they're going to have a much clearer record of exactly who is here. And here's some of the examples. They announced a final rule to advance the biometric entry-exit program. DHS and DOJ announced a rule to bar asylum for aliens who pose security threats and public health risks. USCIS to consider anti-Americanism in immigrant benefit requests, and a new photo policy helps prevent immigration fraud. The biometric entry-exit program in particular, when fully implemented, allows us to collect personal data on any foreigner, all legal immigrants, putting overstays, criminals, unwanted individuals, and attempted re-entries on our radar. I gotta say again, if you're on X, you must follow Prowler at Derzum, DERZUM _ Derzum _. Follow him, champion him, send his stuff to everyone you know, and go follow Appeal to Pragmatism on Telegram, which is, let me make sure I get this right because I always get it wrong. It is t.me/practicalpolitics. t.me/practicalpolitics. This last week, your boy found himself highlighted in there. Another one. In March, 42 immigration judges were announced. In April, it was 32. In May, this week, 80 new immigration judges have been onboarded, the largest ever class at once. By this, it is clear the Trump admin is pushing a systemic and structural approach to mass deportations. Immigration court has thoroughly turned into deportation court by properly enforcing the law under President Trump. Within it, asylum is record low, self-departure is record high, bond release is rarer and more expensive than ever. Please do tip your streamer, folks. Tips.kingpilled.com. Or you can use Cash App or Venmo. Just say something in the chat. Let me know. At KingPilled for both of those. We continue. One great change happening this year is that tens of thousands of immigrants, legal and illegal, are being cut off from food and medical benefits across the states thanks to President Trump's big, beautiful bill. Thousands of Mainers. My dad has always said, pretty good stuff, Maynard. Yes, like eating some food or something. He'll say it's pretty good stuff, Maynard. Thousands of Mainers lose food assistance in wake of one big beautiful bill changes. Who voted against that again? Some Milwaukee refugees and legal immigrants are losing SNAP and Medicaid soon. Starting June 1, Big Beautiful Bill imposes new work requirements for CalFresh recipients. The Big Beautiful Bill also introduced new fees on immigrants and raised existing fees. Then USCIS unveiled serious penalties for failure to pay. Being a foreigner is becoming expensive in the United States. Immigrants finally have to pay to be here, and many can't afford it. As deportations rise, fees for immigration lawyers are going up. Many newcomers end up facing judges alone without legal representation. And DHS announces consequences for unpaid annual asylum fees, unveiling new HR 1 requirements. An interim final rule to implement immigration fees and requirements from the HR 1 Reconciliation Act, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which created new fees to increase funding for immigration enforcement operations and ensure that aliens pay for immigration services. Remember, Thomas Massie thought it was okay to kill this bill. Now, this is a great opportunity for chimping. You want to chimp? You feel the urge to chimp? You want to do something productive on the internet? Tom Cotton says American jobs belong to American workers, period. For too long, our system has allowed fraud.
Baby.
Nematoder.
Fresh out of white pills.
Well, fortunately for you, I've got a whole frickin' stack of them. Thank you for the tip, Nematoder. For too long, our system has allowed fraud to undercut citizens looking for work. This bill shuts down that abuse and ensures our grads get the fair shot they deserve. Now, that sounds real good, right? It says exclusive phantom employees scandal spurs GOP crackdown on a $36 billion incentive. It sounds real good, but you gotta know the fine text here. So, phantom employee scandal spurs GOP crackdown on $36 billion incentive for companies to bypass Americans. What bill is this? The discovery of 10,000 phantom employees exploiting a federal work program has helped spur Republicans to tackle the financial incentives behind a foreign worker pipeline, costing Americans hundreds of thousands of jobs for a year. Isn't that interesting? Phantom employees. We have ghost students and phantom employees. Under current federal law, hundreds of thousands of foreign students and employers participated in the Optional Practical Training Extension Program, the OPT program. And those who are participating in it are exempt from paying Social Security and Medicare payroll taxes, which companies are required to pay for domestic workers. This has led to the creation of a significant financial incentive for employers to hire foreign OPT workers over Americans. Republican Representative Glenn Grothman of Wisconsin introduced a bill Thursday titled the OPT Fair Tax Act that eliminates that incentive by requiring employers to pay the same Social Security and Medicare payroll taxes paid for American workers. By closing the loophole, Grothman believes the bill helps create a more level playing field for American graduates entering the workforce. And Tom Cotton has the companion bill in the Senate. Now, this here is a fantastic example of the sort of subversive what would you call it? Like a poison pill codification of OPT. Because they passed this under the auspices of, we're going to make it more expensive for OPTs, so employers will be more incentivized to hire Americans. However, what it does is it actually, by putting this into legislation, it actually codifies the OPT program and makes it much harder to get rid of. There's no reason for it to exist. Just remove it. This sort of thing is classic RINO subversion. Constantly looking for ways to get some sort of proxy amnesty, and that's effectively what this serves as. You codify the OPT program through this by, in name, you're like putting a restriction on it, but you're actually establishing it even more firmly into the law and making it harder to get rid of. So if you want to chimp, go chimp at this bill. And this guy here, make sure I get it on your guys' radar, David Pivtarak on X, at @TheDavidPiv. My law firm is actively investigating several Fortune 500 companies for discriminating against American workers in favor of foreign nationals. Always happy to hear from whistleblowers or rejected applicants. So if you're listening to this, and you want to reach out to him, you're someone who could who has a case, then go hit him up at the David Piv. The link here will be in the show notes. On Substack, you can go to the King Pilled Substack, or just look in the description if you're listening to the podcast later on. Breaking. Your FBI has shut down a call center operation in India that defrauded hundreds of elderly victims here in the U.S. and abroad out of millions of dollars through tech support scams. And 2 senior executives who operated a business that enabled it have just admitted to turning a blind eye to this widespread fraud. This comes after an FBI Boston investigation that has resulted in the arrests and convictions of a former employee of their call routing company and 5 India-based telemarketing fraudsters. Our senior citizens deserve honor, respect, and protection, and if you target them, we will do everything we can to bring you to justice. Matt Forney says, red alert, Trump is shutting down the Indian call centers. This is not a drill. Got what I voted for yet again.
Indians. Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Thank you for shutting down the JEET call centers, Mr. President. Also, the Supreme Court unanimously ruled, this is like a week ago, the Supreme Court unanimously ruled that federal law does not shield freight brokers from state negligence lawsuits when they hire unsafe trucking companies. This one is a nuke. Matt Forney says this is going to destroy every single Indian-run trucking company in America. No one will hire them because they will get sued into the negative zone when the next Mohammed Singh plows into a kindergarten and kills a bunch of children. Got what I voted for again. And check this out. Immediately, within less than 24 hours, brokers began tightening their belts on it. Watcher on the web says illegal truckers are lining up at truck stops unable to find loads because the carrier will be found liable if they get in a wreck. Legal truckers are getting paid higher wages to pick up the slack. And you're blackpilling?
So I'm over here in Eden, Ohio, and there's a bunch of foreigners over here. You know,
listen
this
to this
guy right
patriot
here, the guy right next to me, all along in all these trucks, okay? None of them can get loads out of Ohio today. And I was talking to the Iman guy right here while I was in there at the Punjabi place getting something to eat. And he said that the reason that they can't get freight out of Ohio today is because the freight brokers won't work with them anymore, okay? Apparently, what has happened is that, you know, yesterday they had the Supreme Court ruling that found brokers could be held liable for accidents with carriers with red flags. Apparently, that the trickle-down effect happened like that. Okay, brokers are just saying, no, there's a whole lot of other trucks. We don't need you. We're not going to use you no more. Okay, I was looking up at some of these DOT numbers to these guys, and they do have a pretty substantial track record of unsafe behavior, accidents, high out of service rates, things like that. So guys, here's what I got to say. This is going to be changing in a hurry. Brokers are not just thinking once about it. They're thinking twice, 3, and even 4 times about who they want to work with. If you're an established U.S. carrier, you know, between 1 and 15 trucks, you better hope to God you have a proven track record with these brokers, because they're on the hook now. They're on the hook in ways that they've never experienced before. So guys, all I gotta say is, you know, you better be going and getting your DOT inspections, better be going and asking, you know, way station operators for a level 1, things like that. Get it on record that you're not getting placed out of service, that you're complying with your ELD stuff, things like that, because I'm pretty sure brokers like C.H. Robinson and TQL, they're eventually going to create a system that tracks all this. So, guys, all I got to say is safety first on those highways and byways, and the trucking industry is changing in a hurry. Later, y'all.
Yet another great application for AI. Colin Ross says, I used to be a freight broker. That's devastating to non-white truckers. And Sapir B says, my cousin manages like 250 personnel at a trucking company. I need to talk to him about this stuff. Yes, please do. Let us know. And Nevsky says, my dad was a truck driver for 20 years and heard many stories from fellow drivers and mechanics about Jeets cutting holes in their floorboards so they could poop while driving. Get these people out of my country. Remove them. Build a wall around India. We haven't even encountered the worst Jeets yet. Now, this tweet is real. Is real. I included a link to the tweet itself as proof that it's real. This is from the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It shouldn't be breaking news. American civil rights laws are designed to protect Americans. And it's absurd for American citizens to be at a disadvantage in American workplaces simply for being American and speaking English. Andrea Lucas, the commissioner, is committed to enforcing Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 on behalf of American workers who face discrimination based on their national origin. Last week, the agency took decisive action, filing suit against a New Mexico construction company after at least 2 employees were subjected to anti-American slurs by their Mexican coworkers and mocked over their lack of Spanish fluency. The EEOC will not stand by and allow anti-American bias to infect this nation's workplaces. After 250 years, it should be obvious. American is a national origin, and English is our country's official language. No American should be mocked in the United States of all places for speaking English or for being American. The EEOC is taking action to protect Americans from anti-American bias, which is unlawful under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. This lawsuit is the latest step.
Amazing.
Never listen to a panikin.
Did you ever in your life imagine that the EEOC would be appropriated to file lawsuits on behalf of Americans on the basis that they are Americans and that they speak English and they're being discriminated against? How can you ever black pill? Incredible things are happening. I've still got more. FBI Director Kash Patel announces that the DOJ has charged former managing assistant U.S. Attorney Carmen Lineberger, who supported Jack Smith's targeting of President Trump, for theft of government records. Remember, Jack Smith was the special counsel. And managing assistant U.S. attorney is now being charged. According to the indictment, Lineberger, quote, concealed her actions by saving electronic copies of the government records in question under the misleading files names Chocolate Cake Recipe and Bundt Cake Recipe before electronically transmitting those records to her personal email accounts. What sort of plea deal do you think she might get offered? What sort of information do you think that she might be able to proffer the DOJ with this hanging over her head? Also, pardon the libs of TikTok presence here, but massive Biden admin cover-up exposed. Lisa Monaco, the former U.S. Deputy AG under Biden, has been referred to the DOJ for allegedly covering up investigations into Microsoft's cybersecurity breaches. You'll never guess who she went to work for after the Biden administration. Microsoft. So she was Deputy Attorney General under Biden. She covered up investigations into Microsoft's cybersecurity breaches and then left to go work for Microsoft. And she has now been referred to the DOJ for prosecution. Arrests take a while, folks. They take time. But tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. Now let's talk about the RINOS here. Tom Tillis is a gigantic faggot. Listen to the absolute audacity. This chick over here involved, this chick here involved in the weaponization of government. Trump settles his lawsuit against the IRS in return for the $1.776 billion fund for the victims of government weaponization. And here's what Tom Tillis, massive faggot, has to say.
It's stupid on stilts.
Why?
Because it will invariably put us in a position where your taxpayer dollars and my taxpayer dollars could potentially compensate someone who assaulted a police officer admitted their guilt, got convicted, got pardoned, and now we're going to pay them for that? That's absurd. The American people are going to reject this out of hand. When you take money from me to give to a purpose that I vehemently disagree with, that's tyranny, and that's what that accounted.
Stupid? Are you a stupid person?
Imagine having the audacity to be massive faggot Tom Tillis and to go out in public and say, when you take money from me to give to a purpose I vehemently disagree with, that's tyranny. I could hardly believe this was real when I saw it. This is the Republican Party apart from Donald Trump. Logan Clark Hall, Alpha Patriot, says pretty neat how the GOP eunuchs have no problem handing out money to every leftist program known to man, but the prospect of maybe helping some of their most dedicated voters a little bit even once is where they draw the line. Well, my president's not happy about it. This is what he said. He goes hard against Senator Tom Tillis. He says, people don't remember that Tom Tillis, the weak and ineffective senator from the great state of North Carolina, a state I won, including primaries 6 consecutive times, and also a massive faggot, didn't have the courage to fight it out in the Senate, remain in place, and run again for office, a thing he desperately wanted to do. I called him a nitpicker. Tom Nitpicker Tillis, they're calling him. Always fighting against the Republican Party and me, mostly on things that didn't matter. When I told him that I would not, under any circumstances, endorse him for another run, too much work and drama, he couldn't have won anyway, he immediately quit the race and publicly announced that he was going to retire. I said, wow, great news, that was easy. The media said how brave he was to take me on. But he wasn't brave, he was just the opposite. He was a quitter. All my homies hate quitters. Now he can have all the fun he wants for a few months with some of his RINO friends screwing the Republican Party. In the end, it will only get bigger and better and stronger than ever before. So true, Mr. President. It's pretty clear that he sees, he recognizes now the polling is bullshit. The polling is fake. The midterms are going to be a fucking Democrat bloodbath. And these Senate Republican cucks are already obstructing on everything. So it's time to just start slitting throats. Speaking of cucks, look at John Cornyn here. Stopped by at Dairy Queen in Sealy, Texas, otherwise known as the Texas Stop Sign, to sample some of their delicious fare. I highly recommend the Blizzard. I had that after I ate this child-sized cone. I highly recommend the Blizzard. I highly recommend the sandwich. I highly recommend the soda. Thank you, John Cornyn. I appreciate the little parenthetical here that you had a Blizzard. You had the Blizzard after you ate this child-sized cone. Thank you for informing me that it's child size. Are you like concerned about your waistline? Are you afraid that it might make you look short? Like I don't understand this whole tweet. What a bizarre pseudo-human. Yeah, Ken Paxton is the Dairy King. That's right. Spoken like someone who's never been to a DQ before. What was it? Was it Mitt Romney who said that hot dog is his favorite meat? Jeff Flansar says, I looked up cock on Google and this tweet popped up. Kate says, hello, fellow humans. I did a human thing today. Nevsky goes, John Cornyn is a fairy queen. Speaking of Texas, here's Trump in peak form talking about the, well, I can't call him a massive faggot because he's not very massive, but the faggot, James Tallarico.
Every one of them. And we have a great candidate, I believe, in Texas. And I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win. I think probably he'll win very substantially. And I think he'll go on to defeat a very defective candidate, a candidate that believes in 6 genders, and he takes hits at Jesus Christ, and He's wearing a mask 6 months ago. Where's a guy? Anybody wearing a mask 6 months ago doesn't get it. And he's a vegan. He's a vegan in Texas, and you can't get elected as a vegan in Texas.
Have you talked to Senate leadership on the Republican?
He's a defective candidate. Who else on the planet would refer to someone as a defective candidate? He's a vegan. Can you imagine the audacity? A vegan. You can't get elected as a vegan in Texas. Now check this out. Here is an ad now about this guy, James Tallarico. He's supposed to be like the white Obama, the next great white hope. He's gonna pick up where Beto O'Rourke left off. This is one of the most devastating political ads I've seen in my life. Low T Tallarico. The dude's fucked. He's done already. Low T Tallarico.
The Democrats have a weird candidate.
God is non-binary. There are many more than two biological sexes. In fact, there are 6. It is now existential that we try to reduce our meat consumption. The American flag is such a complicated symbol for most of us. Prophetic voices like Jesus have helped me reckon with my own whiteness, my own masculinity. Our southern border should be like our front.
White monster, white pills and a lit pillow. I'm gonna jump.
Call him, Rosh. White monsters, white pills, and a lit pillow. This is my politics. Thank you, sir. This line right here, this is the line that's going to kill him.
Whiteness, my own masculinity. Our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front. No need to sit and cry over, your whiteness or your masculinity. They're going to call me a radical leftist.
Something that you love that's not family or friends.
I love, I'm just saying this because it's on my mind, the trans children.
The Democrats have a weird candidate.
Low T Tallarico, too weak for Texas. Lone Star Liberty PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Devastating. Just a total headshot. He's a weird candidate. He's weird. He's Low T Tallarico. He loves the trans children. Insane. Like this guy's supposed to be the great white hope that's going to come in and rescue the Democrats. And all you have to do is just call him weird. Look at this guy. He's weird. It's like low energy Jeb. He's weird. That weird carries a ton of weight. Everyone knows exactly what you mean by weird. Yeah, check his hard drive. No kidding. All right, so let's talk a little voting here. Nevada axes over 315,000 voter registrations in a massive roll cleanup. The sheer volume removed, equivalent to roughly 15% of active registrations, should alarm every Nevadan who values fair elections. 15% of active registrations removed from one of the swing states. This staggering purge, nearly 15% of all voter registrations, is damning proof that, until the Department of Justice stepped in, malevolence, not transparency or security, ruled Nevada's elections. The drumbeat continues. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Now check this out. In California, the California gubernatorial race has over 60 candidates appearing on the same ballot. One candidate name is Barack D. Obama Shaw. Here's another way that you rig elections. Look at this. There's like no rhyme or reason to it at all. There's Katie Porter. There's Matt Mahan. Eric Swalwell is still on the ballot. Tom Steyer. There's Steve Hilton down here. Chad Bianco. Javier Becerra. This is insane. Like, imagine looking at this. See, this is where living for God and country demot. a logistical professional and a chaplain. Randeep Dillon. This is insane. Like, literally anybody can get themselves on the ballot, which is a great way of watering down votes, and which is also why name recognition is so important. America First Insight says, hey, California, significantly raise the standard to get on the ballot. No kidding. Now, speaking of California, look at our boy, Spencer Pratt.
Would you support giving the homeless people new teeth?
You know, once I get them mandatory treatment and get them help and get them ready to get back in society, of course people need teeth. Is that a priority right now? No, what we need to give them is no more needles. Make sure they don't get fentanyl or the super pure meth or the super meth. That's the priority. But of course, whatever we need to do down the line, because the billions are there to help these people, but you need to have it to the people that actually need the help. There's a lot of people, because there's different boxes of homelessness.
You've been following that, though.
Yeah, I mean, everything she says is you know. So my dad's a dentist, so I'll never, shade, people getting good teeth. I understand that. But what these people need right now is more than good teeth. We have 7 people dying on the street. That's what we need to focus on. The teeth can come down the line. But until we get all these people ready for the stat, City Watch this week, over 60% of the people on the streets of LA aren't even from LA. It's because these NGOs have bust them in because they're products. They use their social security numbers to get Medicaid money. They get state money, federal money, city money. These are products. These human beings, they don't care about these people. If they fix these people, the money stops. So when I get in, we unplug this whole complex, and the city is going to have billions of dollars to put back into our infrastructure.
Just straight up calling it like it is. The NGOs are bussing these people in here for the sake of fraud. Trust Plan Star says Interstate Juche is right. These people don't have a sophisticated cheating operation. It's just blatant and ham-fisted. And this is directly part of it. Remember the lady that just got arrested for paying homeless people to register to vote, giving them her old addresses to use? That's why they exist. They exist for benefits fraud and for fake votes. Well, I mean, the votes are real. The people they're attached to are not. Now, I know a lot of people were not all that happy about this. Here's this clip of Trump basically giving his endorsement to Spencer Pratt.
True, Spencer Pratt, do you see yourself in him at all? A former reality TV star?
No, I'd like to see him do well. He's a character. I don't know him. I assume he probably supports me. Does he support me?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. I heard he does. I heard he's a big MAGA person. He's doing well. I don't know. If you have a rigged vote out there, that's the problem. The votes are rigged. You have a really rigged vote in California. You have all the mail-in ballots, everything else. Very hard to win because the elections are very dishonest. If we had Jesus Christ come down and count the votes, I would have won California because I do great with Hispanics. But it's a rigged vote. They send out 38 million votes. Nobody knows where they're going. Of course, the Democrats do, I guess. But disproportionately, Democrats get many more votes. Some get 8 votes. They get 8 cards, and Republicans have to call in, where's my card? It's a rigged system. One of the most, not the worst, I'll give you a list. Maybe I'll do my list. But California's one of the most dishonest states for voting.
I wonder which ones he thinks are the worst. Please, Mr. President, give us your list. I want to see your list, Mr. President. So a lot of people melted down about this. Oh, no, he just killed it. He just booted it by endorsing Pratt. Nithya Rahman just quotes it. I heard he's a big MAGA person. Here's how Spencer Pratt feels about it. He doesn't seem all that concerned. He's leaning into it because he is such a strong candidate that, again, it's entirely possible he doesn't win, but he's such a strong candidate that I don't think that Trump soft endorsing him is going to have any sort of impact on it. Here's a couple of, I've got a number of these things here now. Here's a couple of his newest ads that have just come out. This advertising campaign is so good.
He's winning!
Pratt man!
People realize they're not powerless anymore. You know what that means? Mothers can take their kids to the park again. No more free pussies for migrants. No more free teeth for meth heads.
Is this getting through to you? You'll have to get real jobs like everybody else. I want your evilest ideas.
What if we make BBQs illegal?
That's evil. That's good. I want you to throw everything we've got at him.
I want that Batmobile. The Prattmobile.
I'm just one man.
I'm the Pomeranian. Tag yourself. It's just so good. So good. Particularly when you consider the target audience for these. It's just exquisite. Listen to this this chick here. So Straight Buster said in the chat, Pratt made a name for himself without Trump, which most candidates can't say. He's already at escape velocity. Look at the types of people who are now going out in public and talking favorably about him.
Okay, my recent obsession, Spencer Pratt.
Okay, why?
Oh my God.
What do you think he's going to change?
Okay, just wait. Just wait. First of all, like, he's an icon. Okay. He's a mastermind. If you really understand about like the Hills and what he did behind it and how, you know, this opportunity he saw, he's just like, he's really intelligent, honestly.
I think so too. I like what he's doing, but I'm just curious what you think.
Just wait. I've been following him forever. The crystals, the hummingbirds, super into it. Fucking love him. I love that kind of content. But then when the fires happened, he just really represented. He was this voice for so many people.
Yeah.
And then
he's like giving representation.
Kind of like he made a citizen's arrest on the Californian government, if that makes sense. He just took it upon himself to really dive deep into all of, you know, the fraud and corruption and all the stuff that we know is going on, but we don't know what it is. But you know, where are our tax dollars going? Why is homelessness only increasing? Why is drug use only increasing? I just think his campaign is
amazing,
brilliant, and I'm living for his TikTok. Every time he's like has his phone here and he's like, Karen Basura.
He is hilarious.
Raymond Harmon says this is all aesthetics, not substance, and I love it. Yes, the chicks with Vocal Fry are having a Pratt summer. It's over for the left. It's never been more over for them. Noah Revoy, fantastic follow. Arms dealer for the soul. A powerful, long-time powerful mutual. He says if you want to win the female vote, you do not need intelligent, logical, sophisticated policies that would work in the real world. You only need aesthetics. It just has to appeal to their aesthetic sensibilities and their short-term preferences. You don't even need to give lip service to your ideas being actually viable. At some point, we're going to start seeing young right-wing guys realize that they can run a campaign where they present logical reasons to men for why their policies make sense, while presenting aesthetics to women and absolutely dominate the vote. I think that Spencer Pratt may be the inauguration of all of that. Spencer Pratt has the crucial auntie vote. Bass is cooked.
Karen Bass is not doing anything. She's been bullshitting us. Haven't had a good mayor in a long time. But when you said the mental is the problem,
the aunties are rising up.
Drugs, because the people don't want to be down there. My daughter is schizophrenia and she's on crystal meth. So that hit home. So if you're going to do that, you got my vote. And as you see, like it ain't the barbecue and the ice cream. It's if you're going to really do it. And I appreciate that. Because Karen Bass is not doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. So, yeah, because my daughter needs the help. Yeah, they put her in jail, no treatment, no medicine, and we need more than that. And she's not homeless. She have a mother, but she's downtown right now, walking around, and people probably think she don't have a mother who loves her. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
An underappreciated fact on the online right is just how much older black women like white boys. My whole life, I've never had a bad interaction. Just smile, be polite, and hit them with some friendly blue eyes, and they'll give you almost anything. It is so true. So incredibly true. And you notice what he's doing here. Like, he's just sitting here just listening to her. He's just letting her talk. Just listening. Then just gives her a big hug. He's not, like, shouting slogans at her or anything. He's just there, in person with her, talking to her, listening to what she has to say. The white boys love the MAGA cock. Or the white boy. The aunties love the MAGA cock. Yeah, when they call you sweetie, it's so charming. Trust Plansar says, you mean we shouldn't talk about the policies of the NSDAP to women? So true. Look at this ad. Now compare, I've got two I think I have them back to back here. I've got two of these. And look at the way that they interface with each other.
All right, class, great job today. Hey, I have to tell you something. Promise you won't get mad? I'm voting for Spencer Pratt. Get mad? I'm voting for Spencer Pratt too. Did someone mention Spencer Pratt? No? No. Oh. Because I'm actually voting for him. Oh, so are we. I just don't know if we can say that too loud over here. Say what? Spencer Pratt? He's got my vote. Wait, is everyone here voting for Spencer Pratt?
This is what's known as a preference cascade. Now compare that one with this one.
This mayor race is really heating up. Who you guys voting for? Haven't decided? Same, haven't really been following it. Same. Same? Same. I'm not MAGA or anything. But the city's kind of gone to shit though, right? Oh yeah. Jessica stepped on a needle at the playground the other day. I'm not MAGA or anything though. I'm not MAGA or anything, but have you been downtown lately? Looks like an episode of The Walking Dead. Not that I'm MAGA or anything though. Spencer Pratt seems like he has some good ideas. Not that I'm MAGA or anything. He does seem really angry all the time though. Well, they did burn his house down. Also, apparently he's staying at the Bel Air Hotel, not the trailer on his property. Well, yeah. They burned his house down. Okay, we're all adults here. How about on 3, we just say who we're voting for? 1, 2, 3. Spencer Pratt. Yeah. Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt. Can you imagine if our wives knew?
We're all voting for Spencer Pratt, right? Of course. Obviously. I wish I could vote like yesterday.
These are masterpieces, marketing masterpieces, group psychology masterpieces. Even directly calling out I'm not MAGA or anything. You're not alone. And it's like this is tapping into this notion of the silent majority, because people are really consensus animals. They don't want to be alone. They don't want to stand out from the crowd. But when you have a whole bunch of people, when you have enough people who think that way already, then hitting these notes actually makes people who may not necessarily be that way start thinking, maybe I'm the odd one out. Maybe all the other people who are around me, they all feel this way. And look, there's the Valley Girls on TikTok who are talking about this, and the fact that he's running in an election for Los Angeles. So the people he needs to vote for him are the people who live in Los Angeles. So the fact that these ads are all multicultural, multiracial, they're very diverse across all sorts of different men, women, children, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, then business people, yoga moms, the working class people, the public service employees, firefighters, policemen, first responders. Those are the people. And those are the people that everyone wants to identify with. It's just such masterful understanding of psychology. There's another clip I got here. Let me just check and see what the other things are that I had. Okay, yeah. I've got 4 more tabs here. So please do, tips.kingpill.com. Please do tip your streamer. We are almost done. And then a reminder that tonight we have the VC voice chat in the King Pill Discord. Go to kingpill.com and sign up for that. Whit says, did you see the Democrat Moms for Pratt sign I posted in the Discord? Yeah, there was a picture of someone's yard. They have a huge sign that just says Democrat Moms for Pratt. Crazy things are happening. This is another clip of him from a recent interview.
Who is your political role model?
Jesus Christ.
Okay, I mean, that's what.
He was a politician. He had to, he had to go in and.
Are there any modern politicians that you're especially studying or drawn to?
No, I'm not a politician. I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a fighter for the people.
But you've mentioned though that
Obama. I'm most similar to Obama.
Okay.
How's that for a comparison? Mom's Burryman says he's so good at this. It's incredible to see someone this locked in and getting better by the day. Now, check this out. Donald Trump Jr.'s venture firm, 1789 Capital, that we've talked about here before on the show, has grown from 200 million to 3.5 billion assets under management in 1 year. The firm bought stakes in Databricks, Ramp, Deal, Grok with a Q, Anduril, SpaceX, XAI, and Reflection AI. It is targeting $10 billion and positioning itself as the new Carlyle Group. Isn't that interesting? The new Carlyle Group. What a fascinating company to mention. This is from Executive Summary, I suppose. Point here from Fugitive Truthster. He says, Republicans are finally playing to win. And if Democrats, or many are calling them Democrats, if Democrats try to retaliate against money and power on this scale, persecuting the Trump dynasty, Elon Musk, and everyone else working with Trump, that's how you get a Caesar figure. Love to see it. Love to see it. There's lots of people who are... there's a lot of people, who, especially the retard right people, have really been hitting on the... aspects of corruption or Howard Lutnick or members of the Trump administration getting wealthy off of this. I want to see them get wealthy off of this. I want to see lots and lots of capital move in this direction precisely for this reason. The more capital moves behind the Trump family, the Trump dynasty, the more socially locked in it becomes, the more embedded it becomes. The more inevitable it becomes, the harder it is to actually try to go to war with it. And if you do try to go to war with it, as he says, that's precisely how you get a Caesar figure. Now, Mr. Jonathan Hemingway shared this recently, and he made this connection in light of the Tucker Carlson debate that I played yesterday. I'm just going to read this, and then it should become clear. This is from Chase Steele. He says, from Southern Partisan, this is in 1982. The cream of Southern writers and thinkers gathered this spring at Converse College in Spartanburg, South Carolina, for a literary reunion. Present were Andrew Lytle, Cleanth Brooks, George Garrett, Peter Taylor, and Eudora Welty, who regaled a large and enthusiastic audience of students and townspeople with readings from their works and informal discussions of Southern literature. The highlight of the two-day gathering was a roundtable discussion between all of the principals, except Miss Welty, on the South. Peter Taylor, one of America's greatest short story writers, recalled how William Faulkner's Absalom, considered by many today as the American novel, was first received by New York critics. It was officially opined that the book had been written by a crazy man. Taylor went on to describe what he feels Southern literature is all about. It is a struggle to humanize modern life by understanding it and reconciling it with the Christian tradition of the West. No small task, but one which Southern writers have mastered. Cleanth Brooks, one of America's greatest literary scholars, commented on today's culture. The students of today are, he fears, outside Western civilization. They are equally cut off from both the old traditional oral culture of the West and from the written high culture. According to Brooks, the three bastard America muses hold sway in literature. These are sentimentality, propaganda, and pornography. The latter a billion-dollar industry predicated upon the unwillingness or inability of Americans, quote, to see reality as a whole. And only the writers of the South still have the cultural base to see the present situation for what it is, rather than to be a part of it. This paragraph right here. The key to Southern literature, Andrew Lytle, perhaps the greatest living practitioner of Southern literature, told the assembled audience, is that it is still Christian and still has a Christian grasp of the reality of evil. The Southern tradition is squarely at odds with the Puritan or Northern tradition. The Puritan puts evil in the object, whiskey, a gun, a bad environment, etc., rather than in the human heart. One might say rather than in the human heart. Once evil is projected into the object, the Puritan is able to justify to himself his right to attack and reform others in the name of his own sanctity. This reduces to a disguised form of a will to power. What the Puritan wants is not salvation, but power. He is, in the final analysis, a minion of the devil. And what Hemingway, Jonathan Hemingway, good friend of the show, what he pointed out was like this was Tucker's whole thing about AI.
The white man is back, baby!
Flicker rate!
The white man is back!
Your white pills always update my firmware. Long live the astrolabe.
Thank you, Flicker rate. That's great to hear. Updating your firmware, I like that. Update your firmware with these white pills. Yeah, this notion of putting evil in the object rather than in the human heart. And this is one that I'm going to be chewing on for a little while. He sent this yesterday. I was like, I got to get that out right away, right after I had that they talked about Tucker. But this really, there's some deep spiritual truth in this about the particular derivation of materialism that the Puritan, what's the word I'm looking for here? The Puritan corpus of ideas reflects. Last part of it here says, George Garrett, poet and novelist, describes with some relish the economic and cultural decay of the once powerful Northeast and declared his belief that, judging from the youngest writers just coming onto the scene, Southern literature is still great and still Southern and will continue to be for a long time. This is from The Southern Partisan in 1982. And, listen to this, rare footage of Civil War veterans doing the rebel yell. The yell was used during charges to intimidate enemy troops, boost the morale of those shouting it, and signal coordinated attacks. Union soldiers who survived encounters with it often described it as deeply unnerving. One Union veteran famously said something to the effect of, "If you claim you heard it and weren't scared, you never heard it." From the early 1900s through the 1940s, Civil War veterans were filmed, recorded, and interviewed at reunions, parades, and other patriotic events where, as the century advanced, they came increasingly to seem like ambulatory trophies from some distant age of heroes. In this 1930s clip from the Library of Congress, veterans stepped up to the mic, taking turns with their version of the rebel yell.
Gives me great pleasure in introducing our esteemed superintendent of this audience, who will lead the rebel yell. I'll yell myself presently. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel highly honored at the introduction of our worthy friend and comrade Captain Dr. Lewis. And I will do the best I know how to get that yell up for you. What few of us old corn-feds are left, we'll do all we can. We can't give you much, but we'll give you what we got left. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of announcing to you that we're going to make an effort to repeat the old rebel yell. 1, 2, 3.
Charge him, boys, charge him.
We'll now give you the individual there, Captain James Dinkin. General Stevens. Colonel Pierce. Jones. Colonel Jones, I beg pardon. Yes, all right. No, hold on. Boys!
This reminds me of what was the thing we were just watching the other day? Just watching something that had to do with the it was 13th Warrior. The ancient Anglos had a like there's a primalness to the white man that has it seems like it doesn't make itself present as often anymore, but it's still lingering there. The blood memories curdle when you hear something like this. There's a primalness to the white man that needs to be unleashed once again.
Yes, sir. All right, yes. Yes.
I love sitting and watching really old film like this.
All it out.
There's the bass.
All right. J.W. Mellon. James Blunt.
James Blunt. Doesn't have any teeth.
Mr. Powell. Holland. Go ahead.
Short little nigga.
Oh! Oh! One more. Oh! All right. Go put your dress on now. Oh! Get out of here. Right. Go for him, boys. Hey! 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 Get on the heel, boys! Get on the heel! Hey, boys! Get on the heel, boys!
Oh, that's cool. And that's it. A blitzkrieg through a million tabs. We finally made it to the end of the week. Hopefully you guys have yourselves a fantastic weekend. Enjoy your Memorial Day celebrations. And go join the King Pill Discord. Come join us tonight in the VC, where we will be plotting and scheming and discussing and arguing and probably laughing and many things. It's a great time. Go to kingpill.com. Join up. It is currently 5:30, so about 8 p.m. probably Central Time. I'll be hopping in there. First Citizen says, join or you mom, big gay. So true. Oh yes, and it's Friday. So now you can go consume John Tent. Finish the astrolabe. Go consume some John Tent. I will see you guys at the voice chat tonight in the King Pill Discord, kingpill.com. And don't forget, Sudawave tomorrow. Stay tuned. t.me/kingpilled if you want reliable alerts on Telegram. I won't spam you, I promise. And I will catch you guys for the Sudawave tomorrow and then back here after that for the next astrolabe. Love you all. Have a great weekend. For now, I leave you with Hulk.
When they took a shot at my hero, and they tried to kill the next president of the United States, enough was enough, and I said,